we go, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. This is the Fan Upstate. Howdy, y'all. It is Tuesday, April 4th, 2023. Great to have you. I am Rob Brown. Of course, alongside, I guess technically not alongside, across side, however you would describe it. Directly on the other side of the metaphorical glass from me today, the guy in charge of the radio broadcast today and every day. He is the great one, the alpha and the omega of the Fan Upstate. Hashtag Dad Kicks. Colonel Grudge, the conductor of the Symphony of Sound that is the Rob Brown Show, the professor of perfection, the sultan of swag, the content cash cow, the wizard of wave. Lonzo's here as well. What's up, fella?
I have the power.
I got the power. Boom,
I thought you'd get the joke from earlier, but that's fine.
Dude, I'm not going to lie to you. I am slow today. I need national championship games to all move to Saturday. Can we just move them all to Saturday?
Didn't you find a way to complain about Saturday? Let things be where they are. I mean, the real national championship was played Sunday. Who cared about the thing that happened yesterday?
9:20 p.m. tip last night. 9:20 tip. And then your boy, of course, came down off the high of a natty. Came down off the high of watching a little high-level college basketball last night. And when it was all said and done, this might shock you, I woke up tired, like real tired. So I'm trying to pull my life together. But we're good. It's Tuesday. A lot of stuff to get to.
If I have to bring the energy, I will. You know, usually I try to be as laid back as possible to counter your energy, but I can bring, I can bring it if I need, because I have it over here. So if I need to bring it, I can do that.
So it's got the power. I just combined two different songs, by the way. I just realized I was doing Everybody Dance Now.
Yeah, you were, but it's okay.
Now how does that song go? I forgot. I got the power. I don't dun. Nope, that's not it either. I'm struggling today. Get off me.
It's I would say all CNC Music Factory songs sound the same.
Everybody dance now. Boom. All right. We should do not that anymore moving forward.
Especially if you were watching on Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, or YouTube, you could see Rob bobbing his head, which it's at least in time. I mean,
I got rhythm, son.
There are probably some hosts on some stations in this building who don't have rhythm.
I got nothing but rhythm. I got rhythm for days. You know who else had rhythm last night? The UConn Huskies. Segway.
I don't know if you point out the segue, it takes away from it. You didn't have to point. That was an excellent segue, man.
No, you got to point out the segue. You got to point out the segue. It makes it all worth it.
Well, I'm being corrected on the stream, by the way. That's two different bands. I knew that.
I got the power. All right, UConn wins their first natty since 99, 76-59 dub over the Aztecs of San Diego State. And I was very wrong about that game. I really thought the Aztecs, the team that was a defensive wall throughout this tourney, the team that stopped Brandon Miller and Alabama, was a better basketball team coming into this thing as the 5 seed. Instead, the 4 seed's offense went BANANAS last night. Thanks, Gwen. Can't think about the word bananas anymore without B-A-N-A-N. Okay, so UConn last night pops off, gets the dub. Offense was back and forth, up and down the floor. Had 3 starters in double figures. Sanago 17, Hawkins 16, Newton 19. 76 on the game for UConn. And they did it by doing something that I never suggest to teams based on offense. They did it by beating San Diego State at their own game. They did it by beating the Aztecs where the Aztecs have beaten everybody else. They did it by dominating the paint. They did it by owning the inside, owning the glass. They did it by effectively utilizing their length, utilizing their strength, and getting San Diego State out of their game. And it was impressive. The Aztecs got to where they were, knocking off Furman, knocking off Bama. They got to where they got by being the team that controlled the basketball floor inside out. You did not go into the paint against the Aztecs. You had to shoot high percentage of threes against the Aztecs. You had to make things happen. On the flip side, the Husky defense was shockingly good last night. San Diego State was not the best shooting team in this tournament, but the Aztecs got held to 32.2% from the floor. 19 of 59. That's bad. That's very bad in a championship game. 19 of 59 from the floor, 6 of 23 from range. Lonzo, they hit fewer than 1 out of every 3 shots, even if you leave the 3-pointers out of that, right? Like sometimes a team has a mid-shooting night, and then you go, oh yeah, if you put the 3 points in there, they miss 1 out of 3. The Aztecs missed 1 out of 3 field goals from the paint, just floor shots. That's not. It's bad.
That's men's college basketball. That's what that is.
It's really not, though. It's really not. The Huskies shot 44% and 35.33% from behind the arc. Most of these games ended with teams shooting 40 to 45% from the floor. This was an exceptionally bad game from a team that made it. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a bit disappointing because humans are very susceptible to recency bias. It's something I bring up on the show all the time. We collectively have a very nasty habit of letting whatever the last thing that happened was be the definition for the overall thing that we're talking about. That game was not representative of how good this tournament was. This was one of the best and most compelling tournaments in recent memory, certainly. Maybe in distant memory. One of the most compelling tournaments I have seen in a very long time. And it's going to be overshadowed by a 76-59 walk-away natty win by the Huskies. That tournament was better than the championship game gave us last night. I don't know. I mean, I've got to give a ton of credit to UConn. They knew exactly what San Diego State wanted to do. It takes a very disciplined basketball team, a very good, very talented, and very disciplined basketball team to be able to go up against a team that is physical inside like San Diego State was, that is defensively oriented like San Diego State was, and to turn their own game plan back on them. That's not easy to do. And the Huskies executed that to absolute perfection. Everything that I said San Diego State needed to do to win the Natty last night, UConn did it and did it better. Everything they needed to do, UConn did it, and UConn did it better. It was exceptional. By the way, while we've got 10 seconds, I guess we should now go ahead and make it official. We should go ahead and congratulate the Rob Brown Show Bracket Challenge winner, because Diddy, who, by the way, locked this thing up a week and a half ago, correctly predicted the UConn Huskies would be your 2023 national champs. How about Diddy throwing up all 32 points in the Natty? 115 points. The next closest was Roger with 65 and Dan was 61. Not a terrible showing for old Diddy, was it?
No, not at all. But he knew he had it. He knew he had it, like you said earlier. Did you notice the dog on Twitter? Is that a husky?
That's a husky. No,
Is
no,
that
no,
a
no,
husky?
no, it's not a husky. That's a what do they call him? Shiba Inu?
Yeah.
It's the Dogecoin dog.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Because Elon, yeah, no, don't burn me down this path.
Okay. I
Not
just
today.
thought maybe there was a husky up there because UConn won the
Nope.
one. Okay. All right.
It's Elon promoting his
Never
what do
mind.
they call them? Cryptocurrencies.
Never mind.
again?
That's fine. Someone owns something and they're advertising on something they own. I don't have a problem with that. I was just curious. I thought maybe it had something to do with UConn.
Negative.
And probably most people like me think that's what it is and don't care if it's something else.
It's a Dogecoin. Lonzo trying to get me to walk down the dark path today.
No, I took you away from it. And you just, I mean, I was curious. I thought it was because, you know, how Google changes their stuff on occasion if it's like St. Patrick's Day or something. I thought that's what it was. I was wrong. Okay.
No love for the Huskies on Twitter today. By the way, my change back. I'm back to the blue bird now. The Dogecoin is gone.
I still got the Dougie.
So
Do you prefer the Bluebird or the Dougie?
I don't care. Just make Twitter great again. All right.
Yeah, I really haven't noticed a difference other than, you know, freedom of speech, but you know.
Not what any of that means. All right.
I'm gonna take advantage of Rob because he says he's sleepy because I don't believe it. I don't but he seems awful alert and loud and everything like he normally is today. If he ignores something I say, that's what he does every day. So that's not different. And yeah, I gotta admit I didn't watch last night because I watched Raw, which was I probably would have been equally as enthused in either thing with the amount of bad shots that you're talking about. You know, I knew you were covering that, so I was covering the other thing.
Fair enough.
And probably should have just went to bed.
We're a well-rounded show, both
That's
in
what we do.
topics and physique.
We're sturdy.
Oh, yeah. Which, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, towards the end of our numero trace, you know, ordinarily Lonzo and I save the majority of wrestling for Fight Club with Lonzo on Thursdays. Obviously, this week different, being WrestleMania week. I don't want to have a Monday Night Raw discussion on a Tuesday, but we don't have a choice. We have to talk about last night's Raw coming up at 11:24-ish, because it was, and we'll get to that. Anyway, putting to bed this natty. Here's one thing I did notice. Zoe, on Sunday, when the Iowa Hawkeyes were taking on the LSU Tigers in the women's national championship,
It's like the most viewed women's championship game ever.
most viewed women's national championship game ever? Lonzo, it got more viewers than any NHL game ever. We're going to come to that in the next segment. When I was watching that game on Sunday, and I checked the social media, my Twitter was ablaze with hot, fresh takes about women's basketball. The majority of them, by the way, very complimentary. There was very little of the pooping on of the women's national championship game. Very complimentary. Last night, as the men's national championship game came to its conclusion, and I got on the social media after, of course, I did my nationally syndicated hit on BetMGM tonight, available on this fine station and stations nationwide.
I would ask you how that went, but you're Rob Brown, so of course it went excellent.
It went excellent, except for I was a bit unprepared. Like, they asked me about the Braves, great. They asked me about the NL East, great. And then they asked me about the Texas Rangers. I was like, I got 11 minutes with you nationally syndicated, and you're asking me about the Texas Rangers? But why? Anyway, after I got done, once again, going national, I checked the social media. And there were certainly people talking about the Natty last night, but it was nowhere near the number of people who were talking LSU, Iowa. Nowhere near the number of people who were talking South Carolina, Iowa just 2 days before that. And that's not a shot at the men's tournament. It's more of a reality, more of a statement about the fact that for as compelling, as good as that tournament was, that Natty game kind of fell flat. It also is a major compliment to the growth of women's basketball at the collegiate level. And when we come back here in just a minute, let's talk about that for just a moment. Two different angles to it. Number one, over 9 million people tuned in to watch that Natty on the women's side. And B, there are some people very upset with one Dr. Joe Biden today. Lonzo's already laughing because he knows where this is going. But does he? We'll find out. Coming up next on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, got a live read. Stay right there. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere.
to check what savings and options you qualify for. Dial 800-338-0419. With many people facing job loss and rising cost of living, these special IRS initiatives are designed to aid delinquent taxpayers with the relief that they need to get a fresh start. For a free consultation to see what savings you qualify for, call 800-338-0419. 800-338-0419. 800-338-0419.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
What if you could do business without busy work? With Ramp, you can. Ramp is the future of finance with smart automation, corporate cards, and spend management. Just imagine, no more expense reports or shuffling.
Josh, my daughter played softball from the age of 6 all the way through a senior in high school, so 12 years. And if I had to choose between softball and baseball, I'd watch softball any day.
See how Ramp does finance. Join today and get $250 just for signing up. Just go to ramp.com/offer. That's ramp.com/offer to get $250 for signing up. That's ramp.com/offer.
Baseball is back. The free Odyssey.
You're right, Stephen. It is a beautiful day. Going to be nice and toasty out today and like almost 90 tomorrow. We don't need no spring here. Let's hit summer.
The bathroom is providing some quality entertainment.
Cool.
Our head of one particular department was in the stall. And I heard a loud clatter, followed by a boat, and then the toilet paper roll rolling out from under the stall door.
Did you help a brother out?
He goes, "Oh, good, there's another one in here." And I was like, "Well, I could kick this one back under." And he's like, "No, I got it." I was like, "Okay, hope your day gets better," and just left.
Thank you for being attempting to be helpful in the restroom, though. That's very kind of you. Didn't offer to pick it up.
What was I gonna do? Hand it? Open the door and hand it back? To
No,
him?
man, you throw it over
Throw
the
it back
top.
over?
Yeah.
It's up. So the women's national championship game, a 102-85 victory for the LSU Tigers, was relatively anticlimactic, right? After Caitlin Clark knocked off the Gamecocks of South Carolina, I think the majority of us got kind of pumped. LSU versus Iowa, Zanano and Clark versus Bayou Barbie. This is going to be great. And for about 3 1/4 quarters, it was until LSU just put away the Hawkeyes. Iowa just ran out of gas down the stretch. But we, my friends, were not alone in our interest. Sunday's national championship game, according to Nielsen, and these were the fast numbers. These were like the immediate impact. They've still got some more nerds to crush numbers to figure out exactly. But the very close estimate was that just a tick shy of 10 million people tuned in to watch Iowa v. LSU. 9.9 and some change million was, Lonzo, a 103% jump over the initial audience last year when South Carolina defeated UConn. Last year, USC v. UConn was not just the battle of blue bloods. If South Carolina could be considered a blue blood now, I think they've certainly earned that reputation. But it was kind of a passing of the torch game, right? Gino Auriemma and his UConn Huskies, Dawn Staley and her Gamecocks. Last year's Natty, in terms of women's college basketball, was full of stories, was full of drama. This year's was more about superstars, right? It was less about the traditional powers and more about the superstars within the game. Last year was the passing of the torch. This year was Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. Who's the baddest chick on the block? The answer, of course, was Bayou Barbie, Angel Reese. 103% jump over last year. 4.85 million viewers last year. At one point during the game Sunday, viewership peaked at 12.6 million people, according to Nielsen. That's a lot.
Do you think this bump is because of the media attention that the 2-week extravaganza of Caitlin Clark talk everywhere? Caitlin Clark, to the point where the media and did the thing that they do, and they drew all the attention. It worked. I'm saying, is this because of that attention, or is it because people legitimately were more interested in basketball?
I think.
And is there any way to know that for sure?
To me, the theory has long been that we as Americans are more interested in superstars than super teams. Now, we'll watch super teams, but super teams are made of superstars predominantly. Now, I'm going to say this, and I do not intend it with any disrespect, though some of you will take it that way, because I am an enormous fan. Y'all know I love me some strong interior paint basketball. Aaliyah Boston is an absolute superstar player. She's likely going to be the #1 overall pick in the WNBA draft. She declared for the draft on Monday. But Aaliyah Boston's game, if you're not a fan of physical interior basketball, is boring, right? If you're not a fan of get it to the 5 and let them dominate in the paint, then Aaliyah Boston's game is kind of boring. If you are a fan of flash, if you're a fan of the old razzle-dazzle, and if you're a fan of attitude, smack talk, trash talk, then Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese was the matchup, right? Was the matchup. Caitlin Clark pulling up from the logo and making more than she misses. Angel getting up in her grill, knocking down the mid-range jumper off the cross. We love superstars. We love watching hyper-athletic people do things that should only be possible on an Xbox. No one snipes like Kate. No one knocks down the mid-range and then throws the "you can't see me" in your face like Angel. Flash, razzle-dazzle, spectacular plays. That's Caitlin Clark and that's Angel Reese. Now, South Carolina had Zaya, who popped off for, what does she have in the semi? 29? But the conversation there was what? Aaliyah Boston versus Caitlin Clark. And what made it worse was that in the biggest game of the year, Aaliyah, respectfully, because she is a gangster, Aaliyah disappeared. Her game was on the side of a milk carton on Friday night. In this game, that's not the case. Caitlin was there. She was balling out. Angel was there. She was balling out. All it does to me is prove to me, not that it wasn't already proven, but it gave even more evidence to prove it. All it proved to me was that we collectively, I'm not saying everybody, but it's fair to paint with a broad brush here. We as Americans like superstars more than we like good teams. I'll go one step further. Go back to, we talked about Greg Popovich, went to the NBA Hall of Fame last week. And we talked about his San Antonio Spurs. Pops won, 3 titles with the Spurs? The San Antonio Spurs were the best team of the past 20 years. 22 years, whatever it was. The handoff from David Robinson to Tim Duncan, Duncan Parker, Ginobili, that crew. Greg Popovich put together the best teams of the past 22 seasons. But when we talk NBA, when we talk best NBA seasons of the past 22 years, how many times do you hear the Spurs mentioned? Not many. Why? Because Tim Duncan's game, as dominant as it was, Tim Duncan's game was not flashy. It was not exhilarating. It was old school, paint dominating basketball. Tony Parker was one of the best assist guys in the past 22 years. But we don't really get down with point guards who are major assist guys. We get down with Dame Lillard knocking down threes from the logo. That's what gets us all hot and bothered. Not great assist guys. Great assist guys make for a great team. Dame Lillard makes for exciting basketball. So I think that the 9.9 milli with a 12.6 pop at one point kind of goes a long way towards proving, once again, that we, as much as we might protest this fact, we as Americans prefer superstars to super teams. When Bron got to Miami and everybody started watching the Heat, were they watching the Heat because we went, what a great team? No. We watched the Heat either because they had 2 superstars in Dwayne Wade and LeBron James and a borderline superstar in Chris Bosh, and we wanted to see 3 superstars play together, or we tuned in to watch the Heat because we wanted to see the eventual collapse of a team of superstars. Anytime in the NBA that a superstar player joins a new team to join up with another superstar, there's 2 groups of people. The people who tune in to watch what it looks like when 2 hyper athletes get it together, or the group of us that tune in to watch the collapse. And I know that that's true because I have been in both groups. When LeBron joined the Heat, I tuned in to watch 3 of the best players in the league run the table. When Kyrie joined the Mavs, as much as I love Luka Doncic, I tuned in to watch that team collapse. Why? To prove that Kyrie is a locker room cancer. Oh, by the way, in the last 8 since Kyrie joined, the Mavericks have won 1 game. They have fallen from 5th in the West to 11th and are now in heavy danger of missing the play-in tournament because even if they win out their last 3, their playoff fate is not in their hands anymore. It all depends on what happens above them. So the Mavs are, according to reports, going to go ahead and shut Kyrie and Luka down for the last 3 games of the season. Did I tune in to watch the Mavs collapse when Kyrie got there? You're damn right I did. Because whether we're watching a superstar because we want to see them do incredible things with the basketball, or we tune in because we want to watch them fail, the fact of the matter is we tune in. And the women's national championship game proved that. two superstars who played electrifying basketball in this tournament went man-to-man, mano-a-mano, woman-to-woman to find out who the baddest chick on the block was. And we watched that game like it has never been watched before. And it wasn't particularly close. The most viewed college event ever on ESPN Plus. 5 years of ESPN Plus, no collegiate event was watched more than that. Can we talk about how ridiculous of a number that is? That's insane. 9.9 mil, a spike of 12.6, more viewership on ESPN Plus than any collegiate event ever on that platform. That's just raw insanity, man. It proves, as I mentioned, once again, that we love superstars more than we love teams, A, and B, like I've been trying to tell y'all, women's college basketball has arrived. It's arrived. Do I think it's going to outpace the men's game? Probably not. Not in terms of overall viewership. Whether that's fair or not is up for discussion, up for debate. But it's not going to outpace the men. Why did they do bigger numbers? ESPN carried that versus TNT carrying the men's tournament. It's easier access for a larger swath of fans.
See, the true test if women's basketball is on the rise, like it would appear to be, is can they find another star next year to put on the front page of everybody, get everyone talking about them on social media? Because that's what happened this year.
Well, guess who's back next year? You can see her.
Yeah, but is
much more frequently on ESPN next year.
Is her nemesis back? Because before this game, I had no idea who that person was. And if Caitlin Clark and Iowa wins that game, you have no idea who that person is. As many times as they can do "You Can't See Me" as they want.
We'll find out. I have not heard anything from Angel Reese other than her laughing at the fact that Jill Biden said she wanted to invite Iowa to the White House as well as the LSU Tigers.
See, I know people are taking this a certain way. This is a participation mentality. It has nothing to do with picking one over another. It's like, oh, we'll just invite we don't want that other team to feel bad that they lost. That's what this is. It's that mentality.
I disagree, but not for the reasons you think I do. Let's discuss that when we come back. Dr. Jill Biden says she wants the Iowa Hawkeyes to come to the White House. She did not say alongside LSU. She just said she wants to invite them. Why? I've got a different perspective on it than a lot of y'all do. And I'll tell you what it is when we come back on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
This is patient trophies, man. You lost. Go home. Go home, Iowa. Go home.
Pearls were sold out at TJ Maxx. Oh, dude, TJ Maxx is great. TJ Maxx is great. I'm a big fan. Be right back, guys. Stay right there. Be back in 30 seconds. All right, dudes and dudettes, we back. Thank you for keeping me honest, Skrilla. Thank you very much.
time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit, or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business...
It's pretty much how it goes around here.
Assistance. Your business may be eligible for a payroll tax refund.
Sneaky agile like a cat. Yo.
GetRefunds.com has already helped clients claim over $3 billion in payroll tax refunds through the ERC, and they may be able to help your business too. There's no upfront charge either. They don't get paid until your business gets its refund. Many businesses believe they won't qualify based off incomplete or outdated information, so don't let this opportunity pass you by, because this payroll tax refund is only available for a limited time. Go to GetRefunds.com. That's GetRefunds.com.
We're going to talk about that later, James.
And on sale now. The 2023
Yes, we are.
9 premier upstate horses.
Yes, we are.
$99. Grab your horseman and get your upstate golf cards now to play courses including the Preserve and Verde, Legacy Pines, Pebble Creek, Rear Golf, Carolina Springs, and more. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 9 rounds of golf for only $99. Upstategolfcard.com. Upstategolfcard.com.
Lowe's knows how to get your lawn ready for spring. And right now, you can take up to $10 off select Scott's fertilizers. Plus, you can save $50 on a Craftsman 20-volt 13-inch string trimmer and leaf blower combo kit. Now just $99. Get set for spring. Visit us in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows home improvement.
See, it's this thing where
Location.
I learned how to teleport. See, while you're looking at your phone, I'm interacting with the
Oh,
stream.
yeah, no,
so I'm talking to them. So if you're out of it, all you gotta do is look to your right.
Oh, gotcha. Got it now.
He just did that thing like he always does, just tune me out, which I don't blame him, because there are times I say things that are just, I can't believe
No,
I
it's
did
just-
that.
it's-
It's just,
I'm trying to work.
Wait, Trick Williams played for the Gamecocks. Are you serious?
Really?
That annoying hype man.
Whoop that trick.
Employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
That's your cap. Better buckle your seatbelt for this one. I saw my passport expired, so I went to Staples, got a passport photo, lickety split. While I was there,
Yep, he played college football for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
How about that?
got some from my co-pilot.
And the Hampton University Pirates in Virginia, which means he may have started one place and
Transfers.
Yeah.
Ew.
yeah.
Gross.
Yeah, you don't transfer from there to well, I don't know. He tried out, James. You never know. And suddenly a bunch of Clemson fans are going to be WWE fans. It's going to be awesome.
All right, I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but I did think it was interesting enough. After the LSU Tigers knocked off the Iowa Hawkeyes in the women's natty on Sunday evening, Dr. Jill Biden, First Lady of these United States, said that not only does she want to invite the LSU Tigers to come celebrate their championship at the White House, but she'd also like to invite the Iowa Hawkeyes to come celebrate as well. And of course, the social media went crazy. And for just a little while, what was trending on Twitter? Participation trophies.
Oh, they were talking about it this morning on all the shows. So, I mean, this is a big sports topic.
It is. Because the concept of participation trophies, for whatever reason, have become a freaking political issue. It's incredible the things that we can politicize. But that's another discussion. Now, I have 2 points to make. I have 3 points to make. I might have 4. Let me see if I
have
walk into another one.
5 points to make.
Let's start with this. Number 1, it's my favorite thing to say about participation trophies. People get upset about my generation and the generation after me being given participation trophies.
About my generation.
I like it. A lot of song lyrics on the show today. Big fan. I
don't know who sang that though.
And as I liked, or as I once told an uncle of mine after his 5 to 7 minute monologue about the tragedy that are participation trophies, I asked him.
Was his name Jesse?
No.
Okay.
No, it was not. After his 5 to 7 minute monologue about how participation trophies are ruining America, I asked him, who is it that gave the kids participation trophies? Put that aside for a minute. Second part of this is participation trophies aren't bad. Commending someone for hard work, for dedication, for passion, for drive, for giving everything they've got and coming up short.
Yeah, it's called pizza parties. Then you go home. Okay? There's a winner, there's a loser. In whatever game you play, whether it's tic-tac-toe or whether it's who forgot to turn their mic on, there's a winner and there's a loser. That's how that works.
Lonzo out to a 1-0 lead this week, by the way.
No. You would be out to a lead because I'm losing.
Well, that's fair. It's golf terms.
Okay. All right.
Golf
all right.
terms. Participation trophies aren't inherently bad. There is no shame in losing. There is shame in not doing the best that you can, right? Isn't that the lesson we want kids to learn? The shame is not in losing. I don't care how good you are. Everybody's gonna lose. We don't say you're only good if you win. We say you're good if you give it every damn thing you have. And if somebody's better than you, then so be it. But it should be commendable to give it everything that you've got. And so to tell, especially a kid, hey, you gave everything you had to get as far as you could get, and it just wasn't quite good enough. It's commendable. But here's the part that I think a lot of you guys are going to disagree with me.
As if everyone was with
already.
you
Correct.
all the way
Fair
up
enough.
to this
Fair
point.
enough. I do not think that Dr. Jill Biden was inviting Caitlin Clark and her Hawkeyes as a participation trophy. I don't think Dr. Jill Biden was inviting Iowa and the Hawkeyes as a congratulations on being the runners-up. I think it was, look at what the hell y'all just did for women's sports. 9.9 million people. This might possibly, and I'm going to go ahead and call the shot that it does. And there's going to be a lot of people who come up with a lot of excuses as to why. More people, certainly with that 12.6 million viewer spike, according to Nielsen, more people will have watched the women's national championship than the men's this year. If I told you a year ago that there would be a season where more people watch the women's natty than the men's, you'd be like, Rob, you're crazy. It's never going to happen, right? It's never going to happen. But 12.6 million tuned in for the women's national championship game. I'm almost willing to bet $1 that there will not be a 12.6 million person spike for the men's title. Now, granted, it was a weeknight. It didn't tip till 9:20 p.m. on the East Coast, which, yes, is going to hamper a lot of people's ability to watch that game. But we're talking about the Hawkeyes, who with their run up to South Carolina, their run through South Carolina, and a hell of a game against LSU for 3 quarters. Just got a women's natty to be more watched than the men's. Jill Biden did not invite Caitlin Clark and her Hawkeyes to the White House to celebrate losing. This was a massive victory for women's sports.
All right. This is another case of a politician pretending to know something just because they found out there were numbers out. There's only been 1 or 2 presidents ever that I consider actually being a sports fan. Most of them fake it. All right. George W. Bush, baseball. We know that because he used to own a team. Obama, I believe, knew basketball, but I think he faked his way through some of it.
I think he put together brackets that beat mine.
But yeah.
Of course, so did Lonzo.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, so there's a popular trend out there. A politician jumps on it, and it's just politics are lies. It's just she's not a fan. She probably never watched a game. It just, I mean, it's just.
Here's the thing.
It's one of those elitists. Stay in your lane. Leave the sports to us lower class people. Let us have fun with it. Stay out of it because all it does is cause controversy.
I don't think you need to be a sports fan to celebrate women. Okay? I don't.
I like how you're turning this, but do you think that Jill Biden is a basketball fan?
I don't know. And I don't particularly
you know what?
care.
And I don't either. So we are equally right in this.
I don't know, and I don't care. Here's what I'm saying. As you guys, last week, we had the only woman to ever play in the National Hockey League on the show. Now, I'm a hockey guy, so maybe it's not a direct comparison because
have you recovered from that yet? Okay, I'm just checking.
I have a crush. I'm not gonna lie. I have a crush.
All right.
Mano Rioum, the only woman to ever play in one of the big 4, was on this show. I was sweating bullets, nervous about that interview. I am not the biggest NHL. I'm an NHL fan. I'm a Preds guy. But I'm not the biggest fan in the world. I don't watch nearly as much hockey as I do anything else. I do not think that I need to be the biggest NHL fan to celebrate the only woman to play in that league. I don't think you need to be a sports fan to celebrate the women who just made the improbable, nay, impossible happen of a women's natty getting more attention than a men's natty.
You know, it makes it more believable if you throw out a mention, throughout the entire season, but don't just suddenly show that, wow, I'm interested in this.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
If consistently all season long, the women were getting better numbers than the men, then we probably would have been talking about
So
it.
last year, the women got historical numbers, which has been trumped this year.
Not trumped.
Right. Well,
destroyed.
Right. So why didn't she invite both teams last year?
Last year were not historic numbers. They were very good numbers.
I think we all understand that Jill Biden hates South Carolina, and that's I mean, we just heard it.
I thought I had this really legit, powerful, solid, impressive segment put together. And then Lonzo said, full speed ahead with the segment crushing machine. Joe Biden is doing something I think absolutely should be done. Celebrating a group of women who just did something that if I told you, forget a year ago, 3 weeks ago, that the women's natty would have more viewers than the men's, you'd have called me crazy. And I'll be willing to bet when the men's initial numbers drop tomorrow, the women will have had more viewers than the men's. You don't need to be a sports fan to celebrate that these women, Caitlin Clark and the Hawkeyes included, just did something bat-boat insane in moving the needle for women's sports to a level it has never been at before. And they should be celebrated for that. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Texter said, I think she wanted to invite Iowa just to have the name with that girl since she was the big story of the tournament, which I think is wrong. Winners go to the White House unless there's voter fraud, LOL.
No, You know, Rob implied that I don't think women's basketball is great. I've been saying all along that women's basketball is better than men's basketball because the best players in men's basketball are there 1 year and then they're in the NBA. That's just how it works.
If you own a small business, you know the value of time. GetRefunds.com does too. That's why they've made it easy, no matter how busy you are, to apply for the Employee Retention Credit or ERC. Go to GetRefunds.com to get started, and in less than 8 minutes, see if your business qualifies for ERC assistance.
I don't know, Kevin. This sounds like a joke. I don't know if that's a legitimate question. And it's coming from you, so I don't know if I want to know the answer.
So I'm gonna give you guys on the stream a little behind the scenes early LOL here. On Saturday at the hockey game, it is semi-pro night where the team is wearing Flint Tropics hockey jerseys.
Knew it.
And the team has asked me to do the starting lineup for the game in character as Jackie Moon from Semi-Pro. And the answer is yes, I'm obviously doing that. Have you seen Semi-Pro?
No, but I know who's in it.
Incredible movie. So on Saturday, at
He's
the Swamp Rabbits
so
game,
hit or miss for me that
I agree with
you.
Will Ferrell has some absolute bangers and he's got some absolute flops. Semi-Pro is a legendary movie. And they have just asked me to do that game in character as Jackie Moon. Yup. That's a thing that's happening. Can't wait.
So do you say semi or do you say semi? I'm just, you can go, well, you don't have any time. Where are you
I'm
going?
just going to grab a Gatorade. But now you've got me thinking about that. I think it depends on.
Because I would say semi-pro. That's why I'm not cracking. I'm just curious. I'm also always interested in the way people pronounce things if it's a north-south thing.
Okay, I don't have any reason for it. Yes. I think I'm going to say semi-pro is how I would pronounce the name of the movie. But I call 18-wheeler semi-trucks. So both, I guess.
Now I want to see Rob with an afro.
You will Saturday. Come to the hockey.
Oh,
you can't. You'll
yeah,
be working.
yeah. I got a thing. You know,
I got a thing.
I got a thing.
Yeah, I will go afro rig. I'm gonna go with the big aviators headband.
Good for you, man. There'll be pictures. There's got to be pictures. I'll get to see it.
Oh,
that
there's
way.
gonna be pictures.
Gable's in the first break.
10-4. Somebody hit somebody. Yeah, that's it, Luke. It actually depends on the word following semi. Right? Semi-truck, semi-truck, semi-truck.
Semi-truck. It's not a semi-truck.
Semi-truck.
A semi-truck is like,
But I
it's
say
kind of a
semi-truck.
truck, but you know, we're not quite sure. It's a semi-truck.
Brandon, act like I won't. Act like I won't. Act like I won't. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Our número dos of the Rob Brown Show goes right now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome, one and all. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me on the other side of the metaphorical glass this AM in charge of the radio broadcast, the radio station, every radio thing is the great one, Lonzo. If you would like to be a part of the radio broadcast today, there are multiple ways for you to do just that. First is, of course, the Gilstrap Family Dealerships.com phone line. That is open for you at 844-FANFONE. That is 844-326-3663. The text line is open and working at 71307. 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-M. We'll read them on the air. You can tweet us at The Rob Brown Show, at Lonzo on Word, at The Fan Upstate. We were having the conversation about the movie Semi-Pro, and Lonzo asked, do you say it's semi or semi? And then I literally spent 5 minutes in my head thinking, semi-truck, semi-pro? But semi-pro doesn't sound right, and semi-truck doesn't sound right. And now I put it in the same categories, though, as the word the, right? Well, if I'm saying the Twitter handle, it's The Rob Brown Show. But if I'm just talking in my regular vernacular, it's The Rob Brown Show, right? It's kind of the same thing. It just depends on how I'm saying it when I'm saying it. Semi versus semi, the versus the. It just depends on context.
I've been having this problem since coming to America. So I mean, it was,
Now I want to go home and watch Coming to America.
Was Arsenio Hall semi or was he semi?
That's fair.
I mean,
Text line's open for you, 71307. Texter says, Rob, I agree with you. The women's tournament was extremely compelling this year, which creates a unique opportunity to showcase the final two participants and keep the women's game in the spotlight for a little longer. Yes, that is 100% it.
It's not it. It's not it. It's a politician saw something's trending and thought she was going to make there's a backlash from it.
See,
there should be no backlash. If you want to invite them both, hey, you're the first lady, invite them both. But everyone has to take a side in the world we live in today. There's no, that's kind of cool. Everyone, if you're on one side, you got to go here. If you're on the other side, you got to go here. Why not go, yeah, that's kind of cool. I don't get it, but fine. Good for them.
Here's the thing. You will notice that Rob has not said that this decision seems to be split amongst political lines, because I don't think this is a matter of, if you're a Biden fan, you love this, and if you're a not Biden fan, you hate it.
Well, I think I possibly have a more mixed Twitter. So I got both and in between, because I try to stay away from politics completely. So
this is me looking at it and going, okay, let's look at it from the topic in question, which is the Iowa Hawkeyes women's basketball team, right? Forget who the first lady is. Let's plug in any other first lady. Melania, Michelle, whoever, right?
Martha.
Big women's basketball fan was Martha.
Without a doubt.
Lady Bird.
There we go.
Get some love for Lady Bird in
Lady
here.
Bird, yeah.
Plug in any other first lady, and then let's look at it from let's pretend that it is just generic create a character first lady. Doesn't matter that it's Jill. To me, we should celebrate women's sports. Sports are meant to be inclusive. You literally said that yesterday when we were talking about Angel Reese.
See, you're making this into a celebration of women. No one's talking. No one's saying it's not. I mean, no, it's awesome. So you're changing it into something
you said
that's not
participation trophy before I said anything about it.
Right. Because
you are framing the topic. I'm not saying I'm using the royal you.
Here,
you and the folks in your
here's
family.
where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a competitor's point of view. You're coming from a political point of view. From a political point of view, when you make it political, it is.
I haven't made it political. I'm avoiding the political.
Everyone has made it political. I'm coming from a competitor. Everyone said if you're number two, you're first loser. You've said it. I've said it. We've all said it. Okay. From a competitor standpoint, to the winner goes the spoils. Why do they get to go to? That's what it comes down
Right.
to. I could care less if it's men, women, dogs,
Right,
horses,
hang on.
whatever.
Because here's what it is. You just said it, right? If you look at sports as only sports, just the game, the only thing that matters was LSU versus Iowa, 40 minutes on the hardwood. That's all that matters. Then yes, in that sphere, if it is a vacuum,
Which is how it should be. It's how it should be. If we are equal and everyone wants us to be equal, if we may not be there yet, but if we were there, then you couldn't say elevate this, elevate that. It would just be about winner and
right, but
loser.
that's
And that's how I look at it. You may not look at it that way, but that's how I look
Right,
at it.
because-
It's winner and loser.
because, and I love this about you, you look at these things through an ideal lens. If it was perfect, it would be this, but it's not. Now, I am not arguing.
And it never will be, because some people always want there to be a difference because then they have an agenda.
Do you think that women's sports is placed in the same limelight as men's?
No,
Okay. So, as somebody who loves the game,
but I would say no, except for a week or so ago when sports media decided to elevate a player. They could have done this every year, but this year they decided to do this. What made them do it this year?
because Caitlin Clark was doing things in the tournament this year
So
that no one has ever
so
done
wait a minute,
before.
wait a minute. You talked about Sue Bird before. You've talked about other
Diana
players.
Taurasi, my
Right.
favorite basketball
There
player in the
are
women's side of all
players
time.
who have stood out just as much.
Correct.
They were not given the attention.
Diana Taurasi absolutely was.
Not like
Diana
this.
Taurasi
Not like
was the
this.
face of ESPN
Not
for
like
March
this.
for years.
Not like this. And the other thing is, social media wasn't what it is now. Then, if it even existed, I don't know if it did or not. But social media is adding to this. But they picked out a good player. She really is a good player. Whether you like the "you can't see me" or whatever, that doesn't bother me at all. She's a good player. But they picked out a player. They made her the focal point. They made everyone want to watch this because you had this great player going against an undefeated team. If you watch that, then you're like, okay, how does this story end? So you've got to watch the next game. The sports media decided to pick a woman's player this year and give her all the attention, more so than any player on the men's side,
So, there is a reason for that.
because they chose to do it, and they could do it every single year. If they do it next year and they do it going forward, they can help build the sport and the attention of the sport, but I don't think they will.
Okay. So, there is a reason for that. And yes, I agree. They chose to. There is a reason they chose to, right? I know that we have hit this point where we've reached this landscape where if you don't like a thing, you just go, it's the media. It's the media. Caitlin Clark. Now, as somebody who has watched women's basketball, I promoted it last year in the tournament, the year before that in the tournament. As somebody who watches women's basketball, and I will acknowledge that I watch more men's in the regular season. But as somebody who watches women's basketball, you're right. There have been players who have stood out, who have been exemplary before. Candace Parker. I was watching live when Candace Parker threw down the first dunk in women's basketball, and it was incredible. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi. Diana Taurasi is one of my favorite 5 basketball players of all time. Not women's. Favorite 5 basketball players of all time. Diana Taurasi was a killer in college at UConn and in the WNBA. One of my favorite 5 basketball players of all time, men's or women's. But no one in the history of March Madness has done in a tournament, men's or women's, what Caitlin Clark did this year. Will she be able to come back and do it again next year? I don't know. I hope so. It'd be great for women's college basketball, just like it was great this year. What Caitlin Clark did in this tournament has never been done by a college basketball player to the level that she did at men's or women's. So to say, the media decided to pick a player. No. That player elevated herself beyond what anyone else has ever done before. Ever. Just like when LeBron got elevated as a high school player, it wasn't because the media just saw a kid and went, that's our guy. We're going to make him the guy. The media doesn't just have a group sit down and go, we're going to pick one player and that's going to be our guy. You have to do something that has never been done before. LeBron James, as a high school player, was doing things with a basketball that NBA players could not do.
So,
And he became
I
that guy.
have to do this because I'm obligated to do this. So you're saying that Caitlin Clark is LeBron James?
I'm saying that she is Steph Curry. Hell yeah. And why is Steph Curry elevated to the level that he is? He's not the greatest all-around player in the NBA. Hell, he's not the best point guard in the league. Why is he elevated?
But he is probably more than likely the best three-point shooter
That is
in
exactly
the history of the game so far.
That is exactly correct. Steph Curry's in the limelight, not because he's a great player, not because he's the best point guard in the NBA. He's not. Steph Curry's in the limelight because he does something better than anyone else has ever done it before. Shaq at LSU was getting coverage like nobody had ever, and as a big man. Why? Because nobody had played the game with as much violence on the inside as Shaquille O'Neal. And when you do something different and better,
breaking backboards kind of gets you attention.
100%.
So, I mean,
because nobody had done it the way now.
When they have to change backboards because of you, how they're made, I mean, that will get you attention.
Correct. Because he was doing stuff nobody had ever done before. And when you do that, you grab attention. Caitlin Clark had a tournament performance despite a loss in the Natty that nobody else had ever had before, men's or women's. So, of course, she gets recognized. And
5 years from now, will anyone know who Caitlin Clark is?
we'll find out. I don't know. I would like to hope so. I'm going to say yeah, because Caitlin Clark's got to play one more at Iowa. She goes to the league. And if she can do in the WNBA what she's doing in college basketball right now, yes, she will be one of the faces of a growing, albeit very slow, WNBA. So I hope so. She should still be a G in the league 5 years from now, but we'll find out. What I can say is this. Because Caitlin Clark did something in the tournament that no one man or woman has ever done before, she got the spotlight shined on her. Because of the fact, and I will even say that she got some help, because none of the superstars of men's college basketball, the Brandon Millers of the game, none of those guys were in the Final Four. Hell, most of them weren't in the Elite Eight. You didn't have Duke and Carolina. You didn't have Baycott. You didn't have Miller. None of the superstars in men's college basketball were there. So we as a nation, because as I pointed out to you in the last hour, are a nation that circles around superstars, not super teams. We're looking for a March superstar. And Caitlin Clark made herself the March superstar by doing what she did. Back-to-back 41s. Knocking off the undefeated defending national champions. She made herself the star. And when she made herself the star, and we as a nation love to focus on stars, all of our attention shifted over to the women. And the women doubled their audience for the national championship. And not like they have in some sports where it goes from 250 to 500,000 and you go, yeah, you doubled your audience. But that's like me saying I doubled my paycheck. It's not impressive to most people.
It still wouldn't be impressive to most people.
She doubled the audience from one of the most all-time watched games last year in South Carolina, UConn, to a game this year that was more viewed, probably, we'll find out the numbers probably tomorrow, more viewed than the NCAA men's. This is, by all accounts, every year the poll gets asked, what is your favorite sporting event in all of America? And if March Madness ain't number one on the poll, it's number two behind the Super Bowl. Every year. So the men's national championship and one of America's top two favorite sporting events, the March Madness men's tournament, the women's tournament outshined it. It outshined it in the Elite Eight. It outshined it in the Final Four. And it damn sure outshined it in the national championship. That is never been done before for the women's game. So I don't think celebrating women in sports is bad. And that's not political to me. Because there are women from the entire political spectrum within women's basketball. Kim Mulkey is a noted, outspoken conservative woman. And she is being described right now on social media as the inspiration to drive college basketball forward. Angel Reese outspoken, dropping the "you can't see me." She has been described so far as classless and brash. Yet if you go on Twitter right now, she's still trending 2 days later. Caitlin Clark, Dawn Staley, noted left-leaning. Yet they are both being heralded as heroes of women's college basketball.
By the
This
way,
is
I'm
not a
learning.
political issue.
I'm learning a lot of things here because I didn't know any of that
That's what
about
I'm
any
here
of the
for.
politics of any of those people because I don't care.
That's great.
Because I want to watch sports for sports.
Correct. I agree
But
with you.
when something is done for a political reason and it's basically grandstanding and it backfires on you, that's why it's being,
Lonzo,
you are trying to take
you
this
are
issue.
telling me what Joe Biden is doing, and you don't know any more than I do, right?
You're
Do we
right.
agree?
You're right. I'm giving an opinion just like you are. And my
Correct.
opinion is just as strong as yours. And mine is just as right or wrong as yours.
I am not disagreeing with that. I am saying
You are skirting the issue that's got everyone upset about this and talking about raising women's sports, which we just good. No one's saying that. I mean, but that's not what this is about. It's not about that. Again, stay in your lane, whoever you are, president or vice
Well, then-
president,
well, then why-
unless
wait,
unless
then
you
why-
have shown an
then
interest
why-
in said sport in the past.
then,
Don't jump on it just because it's popular.
then why is LSU going to the White House?
Because they won.
So what?
Because
Stay
they
in your
won.
lane. No, you're
Because
the
they
president.
because
You're
they
not- you're
won.
not-
Because
you're
it's
not-
tradition.
You're
It's
not
not
John
gonna.
Rothstein.
It's
Stay in
not,
your lane.
it's just you're just doing that thing. But that's
No,
fine.
what,
You-
using your point? I'm literally saying what you just said. Jill inviting
I'm sorry.
Iowa is
I'm
her
sorry.
stepping out of her lane. So why is Joe inviting LSU
You're
not stepping out
right.
of
You're
his?
right. I'm wrong. You're the host. I'm the producer, and it's break
Don't
time.
do this. Don't do this right now. We're having a good segment. Don't tank it at the very end again.
That's what I do. Again,
Was Trump
because
out of his
I'm
lane when
good
he
at it.
invited Clemson to the White House after their natty? No.
It's not what we're
not
talking
out of
about.
his lane.
We're
That's in
talking
his
about,
lane.
you know what he didn't do? And you know what Jimmy Carter didn't do? And you know what Obama didn't do? And you know what any other president didn't do? They didn't invite the loser to come. They invited the winner. And that's what we're talking about. This is why this is a story.
Is
It's
Iowa-
because she invited the loser to come.
Is Iowa an unprecedented basketball team?
They lost.
Are they unprecedented
They
in what they
you
delivered
know what?
for women's sports?
You know what? You could be the
Yes.
most amazing. You know, Michael Jordan lost some games too. You know what? And when he did, he was a loser. When you lose, you're a loser. Okay. Doesn't mean you're a loser for your entire life, but for that one particular moment, you're a loser. Don't invite the loser, invite the winners. And then they can decide if they want to
need
go
invite
or
the
not.
winners.
Right. But you don't invite the losers. You don't. And to a point on the stream,
Texter just said
being
Iowa,
invited to the White House is an honor, whether you agree with who's in the White House or not, because it's an honor to be invited by whoever is the supposed leader of the free world.
the supposed leader of
Well,
the
it's
free world.
dude, it's right now. Who knows?
Okay, I'm not going down that path. That's for a different station. All right. Jill Biden, in my
It
estimation,
seems like we're fighting over something, and we're talking about two different things. Because your point is, you're right. Elevating women's basketball and sports, great.
sure.
I had a daughter who played every sport since she was 6. I'm good with that. But you just don't invite the loser to the White House. You don't do that. You don't.
I don't think they are inviting Iowa to celebrate a loss. I think they are inviting Iowa to celebrate what I believe, and again, we'll find out tomorrow. I believe they are inviting Iowa not to celebrate making the national championship and losing. They are inviting Iowa to celebrate being half of the most watched women's sporting event of all time outside of the World Cup, the most watched American women's sporting event of all time, and celebrating women doing more numbers than the men for the first time ever. That is worthy of a celebration to
I'm
me.
curious because I know you don't care for Twitter anymore, but trending on politics right now is Iowa to the White House. So it must be, there must be people out there with the point of view of what I'm talking about.
I'm sure there are.
Yeah. And I'm just going to guess, I'm going to do my own poll of one and say the majority of the people feel the way that I do.
I'm going to disagree. And I'm going to
Well,
disagree.
your poll is inaccurate and it's not scientific.
Texter says, sounds like Liberob is a communist. Everyone gets a trophy. Everyone gets a participation ribbon. You got me. That's it. I am going to ruin this country with participation trophies. The audacity.
It was him. We knew it was. Now
Texter
he's admitted it.
said Zoe is bringing it. Texter said, why haven't the Chiefs been invited? Did they not get an invite?
I don't pay attention to
I
this
don't
stuff
know.
until it's brought up as a topic. I don't know if they have or not.
Texter said, RB, I would argue Steph did the same thing in the tourney. Yeah, but the men's side has always been the pace. The women's just outpaced the pace. That's where they have a celebration. Texter said, Iowa is a deep red state. If it was a decision driven by politics, why invite Iowa? Look, I'm not getting into the socio-philosophy of the whole thing. I'm saying the women did something unprecedented, and to celebrate that is awesome. That's it. That's all. Let's see. Oh, and then I got a text about Satan. Okay. Y'all it's getting weird up in her. It's getting weird up in her. Texas John on the stream said, got to agree with Lonzo on this. You don't invite the loser, no matter how good they are or were going to be, they lost. It's not the point. They're not inviting Iowa to say congratulations on losing. They're inviting Iowa to say congratulations on doing something that no one 3 days ago would have thought the women's game ever would have done.
Dadgummit, Rob, this is a sports show. There's winners. There's losers. They lost. Go home.
Dadgummit. You know what we should talk about next since we're so heated right now?
Wrestling.
Golf. It's Masters Week.
Yeah, that'll bring it back down.
Yeah,
okay.
baby.
All right.
Let's calm it down on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
Gables.
All right, guys, be right back. Don't go anywhere. expect.
I don't think any of the people that that I'm responsible for
Yeah.
would allow that,
Right.
including someone in the afternoon here.
Yep.
But if anyone were to do it, it would be him.
Having a yeah.
Because of where his day job is. And things are acceptable in some places that are not in others.
Fair.
But from what I understand, that should not be allowed. And actually, someone here wanted to do that a bunch, and I kept saying, "You love that word so much. Why are you fighting for it?"
Sponsored by.
He was not thrilled by that. And then like a couple weeks later, after I was told that it would be okay for on occasion,
Yeah.
we took training and they specifically talked about that. word. Yes.
That's CourtneyPro.com. Now, CBS Sports Radio.
On the radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone, download the Odyssey app, and search The Fan Upstate.
There's a whole lot more to know about town if you really want to go into this stuff.
Your smart speaker. Just say play 97 The Fan Upstate. On your HD radio at WFBC HD3. There's just one more thing. And on your computer at The Fan.
FanUpstate.com.
Get in the game on the Rob Brown Show.
Only on The Fan. The Fan Upstate.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. I am Rob Brown. Directly across from me is the great one, Lonzo. You are welcome to be a part of the show by giving us a buzz on the GillstrapFamilyDealerships.com phone line. That phone number is 844-FAN-PHONE, 844-326-3663. Text us at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and jump on the air with us. All right. The Masters, a tradition unlike any other, set to kick off on Thursday.
Is this his last season doing that too, or is it just basketball?
I think it's just basketball.
Because
that Nance is walking away
this
from?
isn't exactly an emotional call. I mean, doing the Masters should be nice and easy.
Yeah.
Even if that's the only gig you do all year.
Can I tell you something that happened last night real quick, and then I'll get back to golf? The game ended. I stayed on the channel long enough to hear Nance's sign off, right? Because Jim Nance is a legend. I don't care if you love him or hate him. Jim Nance is a legend on the mic. And
how could you hate him? We're all his friends.
We are his friends. In fact, he signed off with, "Thank you all for being my friends." And I was like, damn, I did not expect to be up in my feels this late at night. All right. Lonzo, I forgot to stay awake for One Shining Moment. I forgot to watch One Shining Moment. The game ended, Nance signed off, and I went the hell to bed. I completely, and it's not like I was like, you'll forget One Shining Moment, right? I'm a big Luther Vandross guy. I'm assuming they went with Luther again because they got it for a couple of years there. They got away from Luther and they started going with like Kelly Clarkson and some pop singers. And then there was an uproar like, give me back Luther Vandross. And they finally
I wish we could get back Luther Vandross. He left us way too early.
One of the best of all time. I did not stay up for One Shining Moment last night. Am I a bad college basketball fan? I don't know, man. And I'm kind of bummed because, Furman was finna get some love in the One Shining Moment montage for their win over UVA. And I just forgot it was on.
I'm sure you could find it online. I know it's not the same.
It's not the same. It's not the same as it has. It doesn't have the same gas as it does right off a trophy being handed out, man. I blew it. All right. Let's talk golf for just a minute. The Masters set to go on Thursday. Practice rounds yesterday. Practice rounds today. We get the exhibitions, including the par 3 competition tomorrow. And then Thursday is round 1 of the greatest golf tournament on this beautiful planet of ours. The Masters at Augusta National. Very excited about that. So, the storylines are all over the place. Rory, looking for some more hardware. But the story, Tiger's return, the story that I wonder what, if any, impact it's going to have on numbers this year is the LIV Tour, guys. 18 golfers from the LIV Tour have qualified to play at the Masters this year. 18 golfers will be on the course on Thursday, vying to represent the LIV Tour when Sunday's championship round rolls around. You know, we talked a lot about rivalries today, both teams and individuals. We've talked a lot about how superstars are what this country goes for. Not necessarily teams, but superstars. The LIV Tour has so far this year, and I think I can say this objectively, not subjectively, has been a massive failure. Last year, it looked like the LIV Tour might possibly make a little noise and scare the PGA just a little bit. I think a lot of people tuned in year one because there was the intrigue, despite the money for the LIV Tour coming from a pretty nefarious place. We were curious as to what impact it would have on golf. Does it force changes on the PGA Tour? Does it force changes in behavior out of PGA superstars? This year, an objective failure. The LIV Tour on the CW or whatever network it's on this year, the LIV Tour is getting outpaced in ratings by reruns of 20-year-old sitcoms that it is up against during the daytime on weekends. Nobody cares. Despite having some of the biggest names in the game, Sergio, Bryson, DJ, the LIV Tour has zero traction. So these guys coming over to the Masters this weekend are not just playing to win the Masters, to win at Augusta. They are coming over to play for the viability of the LIV Tour. Now, the LIV Tour is not going to go anywhere. Even with crap ratings, crap presentation. And by the way, I checked in this past weekend on the LIV Tour, the weekend before the Masters. And there was a moment that absolutely blew my mind. One of the guys is on the tee box. Shotgun start. One of the guys is on the box. And they show the camera shot. And the camera is back and to the right of him, which is already an interesting decision. Because as soon as he hits the golf ball, that golf ball leaves the screen. And now I'm staring at a golfer in the back end of his follow-through with no idea where the hell the shot he just hit went.
That's kind of cool if you're wondering how your swing compares to someone else's swing, though.
Sure, not so much if you are trying to watch golf. Could you imagine if Steph Curry launched a three and they held the camera on Steph and didn't show you if the ball went in or not, just so you could see the shot? Like maybe once or twice you'd be like, all right.
See, I automatically go into producer mode here and think that the camera downfield, something happened, they got tripped or something, and they know they couldn't go to him, so they stayed on that shot.
Even still, why is the camera not behind the golfer so you can watch the golf? You can put a hard cam that nobody even has to touch behind the golfer so you can show where the shot goes, right? But here's the best part of it.
There's some guy in the crowd with a PGA sign, so they don't want to show that on the,
Like that dude at WrestleMania who was holding a sign that just said overrated next to Cody. Oops. So then the best part happens, Lonzo. I want to say it was Bryson. I don't remember. But the golfer sets up on the tee, goes to bring the driver back. And on every tee, there's a guy who puts his hands up and he has a sign that says quiet, please, right? Or quiet, to keep everybody hushed up while they're hitting the shot. The guy puts the signs in the air, takes 3 steps left, Lonzo, and is blocking the camera shot of the golfer hitting the golf ball. So not only do you not have the camera behind the guy so I can see where the shot goes, now you got your quiet sign guy blocking out the swing itself. I just got a khaki short-clad butt in my face when I'm trying to watch a golf tour that you're trying to convince me is a serious tour.
Come on, man. It was bring your son to work day. And
This guy was like 80.
And Billy got in the way.
It was a saggy butt in khaki shorts in my camera instead of the guy swinging the golf club.
Glad to know you took a long look.
It was on TV. What do you mean? There's nothing else to look at. Anyway, point is, Live Tour is not being taken seriously at all. Will it be
But
taken
see,
seriously?
now you got people out there wanting to watch to see this stuff.
Well, they've had less than 200,000 people watching the tournaments. Less than 200,000.
But the people who are paying for this don't care.
Not at all.
Yeah, because
Not at all. This is not about golf.
They have that kind of money.
Correct. This ain't about golf at all. Now, maybe they do care if they're getting less than 250,000 viewers in primetime sportsing on a Sunday, but it's not going great. So the Live Tour is going to have their 18 dudes at Augusta hyped up. Why? Because if a Live Tour golfer goes and wins at Augusta, now there's some relevance, right? Now they can go, our guys beat their guys. Maybe we're still working out the kinks in production, but our guys are better than their guys, right? It is, to some degree, Lonzo, a parallel to the initial stages of AEW, right? The initial stages, the production value for AEW out the gate was not great, but of course it wasn't. They had never done this before. They had to feel it out.
A certain pay-per-view explosion comes to mind.
Correct. Kayfabe, it worked, but correct. They had never done it before. So, of course, they had to figure it out. What they leaned on was our guys are putting on a better show. Even if it's not presented great, our guys are better than their guys. And AEW, at the time, won me over with that argument. Yeah, it doesn't look as pretty as WWE. But their guys are telling better stories, are more interesting, and putting on better matches. I'm in. Live Tour now has to lean on that because the production is white hot trash. So the only thing they have now is our golfers are better than your golfers. They got to win the Masters for that to happen. If none of their 18 are towards the top, or I should say on top of the leaderboard on Sunday, there is no reason to take the Live Tour serious starting Monday. At least not until the next time we get to a tournament that features both groups, which will not be for a while. The Masters is already the most compelling golf tournament on television. If you don't like the Masters, you don't like golf. It's that simple. Now, it is compelling because it's not just Rory versus the field, Tiger versus the field, Bryson versus the field, Jon Rahm versus the field, DJ versus the field. Now it's Rory versus the field, including trying to shut up the Live Tour. Rory has kind of become the vocal piece for the PGA in their battle against Live Tour. Rory has been the guy that is getting into the trash talk. Rory is the guy that is telling Patrick Reed to bleep off on the tee box. Rory's the guy who is saying, yeah, for sure. If you want to go watch those guys that work less than us for guaranteed money so they're not trying, go watch them. Rory has to beat the Live Tour guys this weekend. He has to. Because if he doesn't beat the Live Tour guys, all the things he's been saying for the last year go right out the window. Hey, you know what the best way to shut somebody the hell up is? The Angel Reese method. Shut them up by beating them. You want to shut Caitlin Clark up with her You Can't See Me? You know how you do it? Beat her by 18 in the Natty. Talk now. Say something now, Kate. The only thing you should be saying is, yes, here's my boarding pass for the flight home. If Rory wants to shut the Live Tour guys up, he has to beat them this weekend. If the Live Tour guys want to convince us to take their tour seriously, if they want us to take their tour as a genuinely competitive and compelling tournament style watch, you got to go beat Rory. It's not just I got to go beat the golf course. Now it's I got to beat those guys. And I have not been this excited. I'm excited for the Masters every year. I have not been this excited for the Masters in a minute. Are any of you tuning in because of it? Is this going to gain your attraction? Let's take a break. We're back after this to wrap up hour 2 of the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Well played, Keegan. Well played.
I'm Chuck Sanders. Here's the Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate. The University of Connecticut Huskies captured the NCAA men's basketball championship, beating San Diego State 76-59 on Monday night. Adonis Sanogo had 17 points and 10 rebounds for the Huskies. They became the 15th since the bracket expanded in 1985 to win all 6 NCAA tournament games by double digits. Sanogo named the most outstanding player of the Final Four. For the Huskies, it's their 5th men's basketball title and first since 2014. Major League Baseball's average game time dropped by 30 minutes during the first 4 days this season. Stolen bases doubled and batting average increased by 16 percentage points from last year's opening weekend.
Oh, you guys are killing me today.
2 hours and 38 minutes with the new pitch clock. That's down from a 3 hour and 4 minute final average last season.
Saggy butts equals ratings.
Sports all year long.
Shame's on a heater.
Search the Fan Upstate and listen
Uh,
on your phone. I'm Chuck Sanders with the Sports
I don't know about look, but certainly think like. Fair enough.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. What if you could do business without
Brandy, you going to be where on Friday?
You can.
You going to be in my hood on Friday? You going to be up here on Friday?
Corporate cards.
Is that what you mean? I need to know, my man.
Just imagine. No more expense reports or shuffling wrinkled receipts. No more slogging through invoices or getting surprised by unexpected charges. Just your business's big idea. With smart spend controls, automation that crushes busy work, and real-time insights so you can make it happen. In other words, Ramp completely reimagined finance to make it work for your business.
Brandon says he'll be in Augusta.
Corporate cards and start making
Very jealous of that.
less than 15 minutes. See how Ramp does finance.
Just because he's in Augusta doesn't mean he's going to, something that's going on in Augusta. He could just be driving through Augusta.
There is no other reason to be in Augusta. You don't go through Augusta to go anywhere.
If you're hired, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com.
I do agree with you on part of that, Kevin, the napping part. Although I have played golf and I'm not a golf on TV kind of guy, but I would love to go to the Masters just to see if they'll let me in with my hair. I'm just,
if you have a ticket, they will.
yeah, okay. I don't know.
Brandon's going to Augusta. You, sir, are a jerk. But I love you. But
I agree with you, James, but he probably already has one.
That's a good reference. I just want his WWE starts getting progressively worse again for Vince's mustache to get progressively more twirled.
Yes, it has to.
I would sleep upright with more pillows, but that painful burning stayed. So I made Prilosec OTC part of my morning routine. With just 1 pill each morning, Prilosec OTC prevents excess acid production, blocking heartburn day and night. Now I have a new nighttime routine. I call it sleeping.
1 pill a day, 24 hours, 0 heartburn. With Prilosec OTC. It's possible while taking Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days to treat frequent heartburn, not for immediate relief.
Without the ones like you who work tirelessly to keep things running.
Oh, come on.
Stop. Hospitals, factories, power plants, they all depend on you.
Can't do it. I don't have the lung capacity I did when I was young.
You're the ones who get it done.
All right, I'm just going to take a chance. I can't preview it, so let's hope I did it right.
Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by.
Well, since I didn't save, I guess.
Who get it done.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
It never dawned on me how much walking I used to do until I bought a house in the suburbs. Like when I'd say, I'm going for coffee, of course I was walking. But now it's like 3 miles, and no lattes like that. I find myself inviting people on walks with me, like it's a scheduled activity. This morning, my neighbor asked me what I'm doing, and I actually said, I'm going for a walk with Nancy.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Is your old bulk tank water heater dying? That's a good thing, because now you have the perfect excuse to get that Navien tankless.
What if we held wacky races to boost ratings? Let's not pretend that they haven't done that before. Remember those dumb obstacle challenges around the ring that they did? Didn't they make Bianca do one at one point?
Probably.
She had to like dunk a basketball on a child's goal at the end. It was so dumb.
From the Ingalls Market Studio,
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville.
From the bleep around and find out department, Lonzo, I think we would agree, sarcasm aside, as difficult as that might be for you and I think that you and I would agree that if we were agents or attorneys for professional athletes, we would say not the best idea to slap a fan, right?
Yeah. Yeah, probably not a good move.
Yeah. I mean, I would usually say it's not a great idea.
Even if the fan deserved it, because they might.
Even if they tell you, we want the smoke, don't give them the smoke. Well, Major League Baseball announced on Monday that it has suspended Los Angeles Angels third baseman Anthony Rendon for a physical confrontation with a fan. Rendon has appealed the suspension. The process quickly played out. There was a 4-game ban after it was done. It was one fewer than the original suspension. Long story short, after the A's 2-1 win over the Angels in Oakland on opening day, Anthony Rendon was walking back into the dugout. And a fan leaned down and called him a bleep. Starts with a B.
And he said, "You didn't say that. Tell me you didn't just say that." And then,
oh, we know what he said because it's on video. Anthony Rendon walked up, grabbed old boy by the shirt, pulled him down, was about to pull him into the dugout, and said, "What'd you say? Yeah, you called me bleep, huh? Yeah, you did. Yeah, mother." You get it? Anthony Rendon gave this cat all the smoke. And let me just say this. As his attorney, as his agent, I would say don't give the fan the smoke. No matter how many times they say, "We want the smoke," don't give them the smoke. It's bad for you. You will always lose. However, Lonzo, there's about this much of me that kind of enjoys a fan calling a player a weak bleep and then getting all the smoke from said professional athlete.
all right, I haven't watched it, but Keegan says he was kind of surprised his teammates didn't do more to stop. The teammates were probably encouraging it. As much crap as all those guys take going on and off the field, I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. It's unfortunate, but it was bound to happen eventually.
Since I'm such a kind, loving, and generous individual, I can actually show you the video.
Oh boy.
There's no sound to it.
Yeah.
I mean, there is.
I'm not worried about that. What's this? Who's this video courtesy of?
This video is straight off of social media, and I think we're fine. There's no copyright to it yet. So, of course, it's got to load. There's Anthony Rendon in the dugout. He's got old boy by the jersey, and he tries to slap him in the face. Now, he lets go of the jersey to reach up with the left hand and slap him, but the fan, as soon as the jersey gets let go of, immediately bails out, so he misses getting said smoke.
That looked playful to me without hearing the sound. I mean,
it was not. It was not. You called me a
He was-
bleep.
but he-
yeah, you did. You mother bleep.
But Rendon was smiling as he was walking
Yeah,
away.
because he just watched the fan likely need to change his underpants. Because if a professional athlete grabs you by the shirt collar and yanks you down to within reception of the smoke distance, I don't care how BA you think you are in the stands. You are likely going to need to eat a Slim Jim if you get what I'm saying.
I think the fan realized he had the high ground. So, I mean, it's important.
I'm going to tell you right now, you can give me the high ground on 90% of Major League Baseball. Nope, 99.9% of Major League Baseball players, and they are still going to beat my you-know-what into submission, all right? That fan thought he was a hard ass because he had a fence protecting him, and then Rendon got him by the neck. Oh. That's why Rendon was smiling, because he saw fear in that man's eyes. Final hour up next on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
And Bart, this report sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive.
My predictions as to who would remove the wrapper were correct, Stephen.
Like you guessed correctly who it was?
Yeah, you were sitting there when I think maybe you weren't sitting there when
I don't think it was.
when we got a visit by someone who's new.
Uh-huh.
And I at first I asked Chris if he removed it because my prediction.
Who actually removed it from the...
Yeah.
Gotcha. I thought you meant who removed it from the Slim Jim.
Oh no, dude. I can narrow it down to 2 people.
I'd say 3.
No, only 2.
Do we name names or do we let it be?
No, we don't name names because they know. They know. It's process of elimination. First, you get rid of all the women in the building. No one from the news department's doing that. Obviously, so it's going to be on the music side. And as soon as you say it's on the music side, everyone knows who it is.
So we've got it narrowed down to which person in that room did it.
Right. And I will say, being in that room with other people, certain people I've only seen go into a door.
Yeah.
I've never seen them. I've never had to wait till they were done at the,
Gotcha. Oh,
yeah.
okay. Yep.
So that narrows it down
okay.
a little bit too.
I think you're onto something here. I think you're onto something here.
TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. There is zero risk to you. If we can't reduce your tax debt, then you pay nothing. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have a 5-star rating on Google and Yelp and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online.
I have to honestly say, even though the joke would be great, Stephen, in a way it was him. All that germ stuff, that's real. That's not, that's the disdain and anger and just sheer disgust when people don't wear shoes in the building. That's genuine.
No, Rob Brown is not
I
eating
have-
a Slim Jim.
I have already defended you.
Yeah.
Trust me. I've pointed, I would go to court and testify, but there's no way it was him.
I mean, as the fiance will tell you, I'm a gross dude, but that's
We all are.
next level.
We're dudes. We're
That's
gross.
next level, man.
No, I don't believe they were shoeless at the time. There are only a couple people in this building willing to go shoeless. And the accused are not, some of them.
I can only think of one.
Oh, there's only 2 people in this building with the guts to just walk down the hall with no shoes
You're
on.
one.
Yes. And the
Oh,
other,
man.
yes.
Yeah. That would have been my 2. But I don't see.
But we share custody of this house. So, I mean, you know, he stays on his side, I stay on mine. But unfortunately, we have to share the same restroom. You know how that works.
But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were
Gross is a spectrum. Never have truer words been truthed.
Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over
Every day on this
quality
program is a day of
quality
revelation. It's
German.
awesome.
Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code JOY at checkout. That's harrys.com, code JOY. Enjoy.
You're an instigator, Steven. Tag on it, man. That's like consistent today, right? I mean, there's that. I think they're disappearing because of executive orders. I know I put those in there.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Robin Lonzo with you on a above average Upstate Tuesday morning.
Well, if you're talking about weather-wise, it's supposed to be really nice out. It's a little hazy, but, you know.
Slightly overcast.
Well, it's going to be like in the 80s today. You got to bring some haze with that.
Ugh.
What do you need spring for? Spring is overrated. I mean, you know, if we could skip completely past spring and things would just already bloomed and we're done with that.
Sir, it is Masters weekend. I'll have none of those shenanigans right now.
Going to be hot there too.
The perfect spring weekend. It's always sunny and 72 at Augusta.
Yeah, it'll be in the 80s. So what is the max temperature for spring?
I don't have one, just not.
Well, you go out and go, okay, well, what's the minimum temperature for spring? 65.
Listen, I just want
72.
comfortable shorts weather.
Well,
that's all I want.
Okay, so
I want to go
about
play
74.
golf and not have to bundle up when I do. That's all. That's it.
That's all subjective too. But I mean, you know, I don't mind skipping spring. I love summer. Summer is awesome.
Spring's the best. Dan the Superfan Man says, so does the fan sue or back up his trash talk that he missed? I'm going to say this.
Get pulled down by your, I think getting pulled down by your collar is almost worse than getting hit.
I'm going to go with this. Could he sue? Sure. Would he win some sort of civil litigation? Probably. I'm going to go with, if my guy runs smack at a pro athlete and that pro athlete goes hands-on, right? Because Rendon wasn't going to KO the dude. He was going to give him, with the old 5-finger say to the face treatment. If you run smack at anybody, right? If you walk into your local watering hole, walk up to any dude and go, you're a bleep, and that dude grabs you by the collar and gives you the old what for, and then you back away, and then you sue, you might win some money. But it comes at the cost of your pride. If I was boys with that dude would never hear the end of that.
I just got $5 million in this lawsuit. You know what? I love you. You're my friend. I'm going to give you $1 million.
Nah, you a punk. You a punk?
I'm taking that million.
I would too, but I'm going to call him a punk while I do it.
Yeah, but you're going to do
Just
it.
make
You're
sure
going to do
you
it
sign
like,
that punk.
you're going to do, you're just a punk, man. And you're going to make him think that you don't mean it.
Make sure you sign that check. Bob the Punk Smith, would you? Hey, speaking of ridiculous things that happen, we were talking about that guy getting the smoke from Anthony Rendon because old boy had the rocks to talk a little smack. Lonzo, I have now for the first only, and I will happily say, last time in my life proposed. And I will tell you that for me, it was legitimately a nerve-wracking moment in my life. It was the most, I told one of the girls from the hockey team, you can hand me a mic in front of an arena of 20,000 people, and I will not think twice about cutting it on and going nuts. At a rooftop balcony, just me and her, and it was time to propose, and I was like about to hurl.
I got to say, seeing Rob nervous makes me worried.
It doesn't happen often.
Yeah, it's like, wow, this is not supposed to be this way.
It does not happen often.
You are the most confident person, one of the most confident people that I've ever been around, especially when it comes in front of crowds. There's probably one other guy that I know of who's no longer with us could do the same thing that you do with no nerves at all. So yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
So I was a ball of nerves. To the point that, and I can tell this story now and laugh about it, Lonzo, I genuinely forgot to go down on one knee. I just forgot. Didn't even register.
Yeah, you were sitting at a table though.
I should have got up and made that move,
Yeah,
but
I
I
know.
forgot. I was a ball of nerves. I forgot. I got through it. She said, "Yeah, we're good." But I went through.
Dude, it's all about the ring anyway.
And she loves it, so it worked out well.
Yeah.
It was all about the process of putting it together, right? Like, okay, we're going to go to this restaurant. It's got this balcony view looking back towards old New York. Like, I went through to put together a nice enough memory that even if my dumbass forgot to take a knee, she would still go, this memory is like a core memory for me.
Here's the other thing. She knows that if you took a knee, you're going to have trouble getting back up.
God, you're such a jerk.
So you're probably all right. You're probably all right there.
You're such a jerk.
It's just because I'm not lying. That's why.
Point is, I went through a lot to make sure that the moment was right, even if I goofed it up, right? I would like to introduce you to a gentleman here on the video. And if you're not watching the stream, this is a great illustration of why you should be. Go to the Facebook page at The Fan Upstate on Facebook. Go to the YouTube page by searching The Fan Upstate. Go to Twitch and search The Rob Brown Show. However you wish to join, you should watch the stream because you're going to get extra stuff. There's a video making the rounds on the social media right now of a fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers who was set to propose at a Los Angeles Dodgers game to his girlfriend, who is also a fan of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And he, like the hopeless romantic Rob Brown, decided to try to create a lifelong memory for his soon-to-be fiance. This guy decided, she's a Dodgers fan, I'm a Dodgers fan. What more of a way to create a memory for a Dodger-loving girlfriend, Lonzo, than to propose to said Dodgers-loving girlfriend on Dodger Field at Dodger Stadium? Now, if you find a unicorn who loves sports so much that she's all in for a sports-themed engagement, then yes, you should go out of your way to make it more than just in the bleachers at a game. This guy said, I'm going to propose on the field at Dodger Stadium. Except for, so he made one critical mistake. He didn't ask the Dodgers for permission to do that. So for those of you watching on the stream right now, the Fan Upstate on Facebook or YouTube, at the Rob Brown Show on Twitch, I'm going to illustrate what happens here. You see the young man make his way out in center left, wearing his number 50 Mookie Betts jersey. He gets out to the outfield, and isn't that adorable? He goes down to a knee, and he pops the question. The camera turns around, shows the girlfriend. She's emotional. The camera spins back around, and there's my guy, center left field, knee on the grass at Dodger Stadium. He's down on a knee. He lifts the ring up in the air. I mean, Lonzo, that is picture form perfect proposal. Remember to go to the knee, lifted the ring up for her to see it. And then, ladies and gentlemen, he gets clobbered.
No, we just saw the perfect form tackle. You need a little more. No, the wrapping's there. The arms are where they need to be. Where's the head at?
Security guard laid down a tackle that, and I'm not even saying this to be funny or sarcastic. That is, though, a picture perfect form open field tackle. The security guard, as he makes his way from right to left on your screen, enters the screen with a lowered center of gravity, right? He sees the target. Look at the head up, eyes on the target. He's got the eyeballs staring right at the chest. As he approaches contact, he drops the center of gravity down. Look now. In fact, I'll even go full screen for you here, people. Look at the head, the eyes up, crown of the head towards the sky. He is still zeroed in on the numbers right in the dead center of the chest. But look at the back. The back is flat. The legs are underneath him so that when contact comes, he can kind of spear forward and drive with the legs through contact. Then you have the contact. Look at that perfect contact. Both arms around both sides of the body. That's a critical mistake a lot of DBs make nowadays, though. They hit with the shoulder, but they trail the arms. So if you bounce off the contact, you can't go down. There's nothing to drag him down. Security guard wraps the head across the back nameplate, drives with the leg through the leg. The head, this is not, I got a texter that said tackle got a 15-yard targeting. No, it's not. That's perfect. There's no targeting there. I can see the entire head of the engager from the tackler because the guard's head was in a perfect position. Eyes up to contact. Put the head either in front or behind of the ball carrier. The arms come up, wrap around. The center of gravity rotates forward into contact. The feet stay down and driving. He drives through contact. I mean, Lonzo, look at that hit.
You know, the only bad part about this is the security guard is not big enough to be signed by Vince McMahon.
I'll tell you right now, he should at least get an NXT tryout. All right? That spear was better than anything Goldberg did in 15 years of professional wrestling. Look at the contact. Look at where he is now. The head is still up looking at the target. The back is flat, driving with the legs through contact. He has created a situation where the center of gravity for the engager is now well out from over his feet. There's nowhere to go but down. He drives through contact, takes the would-be engager to the ground, keeps him wraps up. Now, my favorite part of this is if I go back in the frame. If you will look, ladies and gentlemen, those of you watching on the stream, as you all should be at facebook.com/thefanupstate, right in the middle of that screen, Lonzo, you will see a couple of black pixels. You know what that is?
Is that the ring?
That's the ring.
Because I was curious about that. I thought there might have been dust on my screen or something right there.
That is the
I see it on the big
engagement
screen
ring.
now. Yeah, it's
Because my dude levels him with such a vicious open field tackle that the hat flies off. The ring box goes straight up for the love of elevation. Drives through the tackle, maintains contact, keeps him on the ground, and doesn't let go until cavalry arrives. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the definition of a perfect open field tackle.
I'm sure if the sound was up in the crowd, we would hear the would-be fiance yelling "my ring." Not about where's my ring.
I don't know if you would, because I think what you'd hear is about 47,000 Dodger fans going, "Oh, ho, 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 ho." I found this clip yesterday. It's been circling for a couple of days. I'm sure some of you were like, "Rob, welcome to the late party." Yeah, and I get that.
Yeah, because I had already seen it, but I didn't see a slow-mo breakdown and because I was curious about where the ring was, and now I know.
Now, I don't know what happened. You can see the ring. It's down on the ground to the right, just behind the right foot of the engager on the ground. But that tackle, like if I was a high school football coach, I'm not even kidding you, I would clip this video. I would bring it to film breakdown at the very first spring practice of my football program. I might send this over to Burns. Be like, "Hey, Coach Reggie, hey, Coach Shaw, show this to the DBs because they will not see, no matter how much football they watch, a better, more perfect form tackle than this guy, either ruining or making, depending on how he looks at it, the most memorable engagement in the history of LA Dodger baseball."
Where are we on the field? Are we closer to the pitcher's mound?
No, we are deep center left.
Oh, okay. Because I'm wondering which player can walk over and just bend down and pick up that ring and put it in the pocket. Because I mean, it's out there.
All right, let's be honest here, and I'm gonna make a judgment call here. I'm gonna make a judgment call that may or may not be unfair. If there's a part of your brain that thinks, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to run out into center left during an active game and propose from the field. I suspect you probably don't have the brain power to pull together a ring that's worth a professional baseball player swiping it.
And see, my first thought, you're not going to be surprised about this, was how many beers did it take to get him to go out and do that?
I'm going to go ahead and tell you this.
He was sober. You think he was sober?
I'm not going to say he was sober. I'm going to say that plan gets put together sober. You may need to have a couple of brewskis to execute the plan, but that is not something that you go, "I brought the ring. She's here. There's no security guards in left center. I can get out there right by Mookie and go to a knee before anybody gets me." That is a plan that is executed drunk, but put together sober.
See, I can see why you're saying that, but I'm thinking the proposal was there before he went there, but he was thinking he's going to do it in the stands and the cameras. That happens all the time. And then when he got there, he started drinking. He started thinking, what would make this even more memorable? I'm going to hop this wall and go out on the middle of the field.
Dude, I'm going to tell you right now, if Rob Brown's at a baseball game, he's having a beer. I don't care if it's 40 degrees or 110. I'm having a beer. I'm having a few beers. Thirsty Thursday is one of my favorite days of the calendar. Never once, not a single time in my life have I ever thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to enter the field of play with a bunch of professional athletes. I'm sure it'll be fine. This guy put this plan together. Now, again, might have knocked back a couple of Jack and Diets just to build up a little courage, kind of get the stones, get the juices flowing before he decided to go share the outfield with Mookie Betts. But I promise you, when that security guard put the head across the bow, wrapped up, drove with the legs, upset the center of gravity, and squarely planted the ball, ring carrier, 3 inches deep into the sod and held on until the cavalry arrived, I promise you my guy was like, oh God, I hope she said yes. There's no way that dude got out without the wind getting knocked out of him. No way.
Did she bail him out? That's another question.
Yeah, because my man's bail money was in that ring, dude. Biggest questions, though, is did he get the ring back? Or did a security guard pocket it and go, what ring? I don't know what you're talking about.
That's what I was saying earlier. If it's closer to, that's what I wanted to know, which player was out there going, yeah, I'll just keep this for later.
The entire Dodgers outfield's worth about $170 million right now, so they're probably fine. But I promise you, a security guard making $15 an hour locking down the outfield would be looking at a $7,000 or $8,000 ring going, I mean,
I don't know if I'm a player. I'm grabbing it. I'm putting it on the mantelpiece, and it's a memory thing. It's something you could talk to people about. Yeah, here's what happened. Here's how I got this ring.
All right, if you've seen that clip, give me your thoughts on it. That's about, I got to tell you, so that's about as good of a breakdown as I can give you of anything.
It was very good. It really was. My chapter title will be proposed tackle. So I'm working on like I got fan smacking earlier.
I like it.
So I'm having a good day with titles.
I like it. All right. Texas said, any way we could get that security guard on the payroll there. There's a few people that could use a good form tackle at the studio. Looking at you, Slim Jim guy.
Yeah. If it is who we think it is, that guy is not tackling the guy who
I don't know, man.
Yeah, he's
that
not.
form was pretty good.
Yeah, true.
Pretty good
True.
form.
But you're gonna need straight up double leg. I mean, the speed coming at the person I think it is, you'll just bounce. You just bounce. It's just no.
I mean, just an absolute perfect tackle from that guard. Let's take a break. Come back here in just a minute. Got a couple more things I want to hit. Carolina sends DJ Moore to the Chicago Bears in order to get the number 1 overall pick. Turns out there's more to the story. And the Panthers did something I'm very impressed by in order to make this happen. I'll tell you what that is when we come back. Rob Alonzo and you on the Rob Brown Show. And the Fan Upstate, y'all.
Yeah, Terry Tate though could
Terry
tackle
Tate,
anybody.
offensive linebacker.
Yeah, he could tackle anybody. So
Favorite commercials of all time.
Here's the NC Plus Trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. Partial sunshine develops today, high of 79. Tonight, partly cloudy skies develop a low near 62. On Wednesday, skies become partly sunny, high of 86 degrees. And on Thursday, some chance for showers and storms, low high of 85. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buczynski on the Fan Upstate. Currently, it's 64.
And now, Mark Ryan's Morning Sports Spin.
Not sure if you heard the interview, but we had Clemson baseball coach Eric Bakich on the show on Monday. And I'm here to tell you, folks, we've spoken to him twice. First last summer when he was first hired, and just now. And I am blown away by his vision. All I can tell you is I am buying what he's selling. He has a vision for how he wants Clemson baseball to play. He's got a really go-getter attitude in terms of how to achieve what he wants to achieve. And I'd be less concerned with the actual results this year. Look, I'm a no moral victories guy, and number 2 Wake Forest just swept Clemson. But the competitiveness of this team and his vision for how he's going to make that team play in his image is what I'd be most excited about if I was a Clemson fan. The future is so bright for that team that you need shades. I'm Mark Ryan.
Full Sides with Mark Ryan this afternoon, 3 to 7 on The Fan Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, and on the Odyssey app.
Hey, it's Rob Brown from the Rob Brown Show. Listen, you have probably heard that today's real estate market is returning to normal. But what does that mean, really? Well, if you're selling a house for the first time, or the 5th time, or the 15th time, let's be honest, it can be confusing, right? So if you are looking to sell, you need to call Allen Tate Realtors, and you need to call them right now. Allen Tate,
I shouldn't be. I realize it's scripted. I realize it's a continuing story and everything. I'm still mad about
right for the market.
the whole Cody Rhodes thing last night and Sunday night.
Unless you're an expert like the realtors at Allen Tate, and they can help you because Allen Tate has qualified buyers actively looking for great homes like yours, and despite higher interest rates, the market remains very healthy for both buyers.
As Stephen Amell tweeted, I'd like to thank the WWE for ruining my life on 2 consecutive nights. And he's got a video of showing him in the audience because he was at WrestleMania and he was at Raw last night.
Listen, WrestleMania.
Stephen Amell, who was Arrow on the TV series and is doing a wrestling TV series, either filming
I
or
haven't watched it, but I've heard it's really good.
I watched the first couple episodes of season 1. I think season 2 is about to drop. No, Kevin, I do that just for you. He's I'm going to send you the video. Look at the video. It's only 3 seconds long. You know what Stephen Amell looks like, right? But he's centered, so you can see it exactly where he was in the crowd when this happened.
Download the free Upside app and get cash back on every gallon of gas. Use promo code
that face.
cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's code UP80. Use code UP80 for an extra 25 cents per gallon back in your first
I believe
fill-up.
Cody's been on that show. So
Hi, I'm Kyle.
I know Phil Brooks has been on it. And watch those episodes.
Well, at Blindster, if you have a tape measure and a screwdriver, you can install our custom blinds and save big. Plus, we guarantee they'll fit. Blindster.com.
Bam, 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 bam.
It's BetMGM tonight, Monday through Friday from 7 to 11, only on the Fan. BetMGM tonight is the friend zone for casual and hardcore sports fans. Live sports betting updates for all of the night's games as they happen. Get the latest scores, sides, totals, props, parlays, futures, and much more with hosts Quentin Mayo, Trista Crick, and Ryan Horvath. Real-time, relevant sports wagertainment tonight at 7. BetMGM tonight, exclusively on
Upstate.
and on the Odyssey app. More than the scores. Real sports talk for real sports fans.
The Rob Brown Show. Now 9 to noon. Upstate.
DJ Moore, longtime Carolina, well, quasi longtime Carolina Panther, semi longtime Carolina Panther,
Or is it Simi?
semi longtime Carolina Panther, is now a full-time Chicago Bear because the Cats, obviously, as we brought to you on this show a number of weeks ago, sent DJ along with a couple of other picks up to the Windy City in return for the number 1 overall pick in the 2023 National Football League draft and the right to grab the QB of their choice out of this class. Now, what is interesting about this is a report that has since surfaced. Apparently, according to The Athletic, who published a story with quotes from both the Chicago Bears general manager Ryan Poles and the Panthers general manager Scott Fitterer, there was a long conversation about the ideal trade betwixt the two. Why? Ryan Poles wanted DJ Moore, which makes sense. A lot of people think Justin Fields could be the guy, but the Bears have, for the most part, by and large, failed to give him a guy on the outside to help make him the guy at quarterback. So Ryan Poles, from the beginning, wanted DJ Moore. You give him a down-the-field threat, a positive threat that could give Justin Fields, somebody to throw the ball to, which I have come to understand as a new fan of this thing called football, is relatively important for a National Football League quarterback. But in the beginning, that is not all Ryan Poles wanted. Ryan Poles, Alonzo, also tried to get Scott Fitterer to add either Brian Burns or Derek Brown into the mix as well. Poles said that he considered all 3 players first-round picks, that Moore was a guy that was always targeted to join the group, but that he wanted Brown or Burns thrown in as well. Fitterer said we couldn't get there with just picks, so we argued that DJ was worth a 1 plus somebody else. We both agreed how valuable he would be for a young quarterback to give him proper evaluation. So when they talked about adding somebody else to the mix, Ryan Poles brought forward Brian Burns and Derek Brown. Now, Derek Brown is going to be more important to the Carolina Panthers this year than he has been any of the previous years. Why? Because more often than not, the Panthers, with Ejiro Evero as the new defensive coordinator, will be switching to a 3-4 defense. In a 3-4 defense, the nose tackle is wildly important. The nose tackle has to set the line of scrimmage, has to eat up 2 blockers, and yet still be able to shut down the run lanes and the gaps next to him. The reason why is with 4 linebackers, those guys are supposed to be able to track the ball regardless of the direction that it goes in, and then run up and fill in the gap where that ball is going to ultimately end up at. So, Derek Brown, a guy who I believe does have the ability to be one of the most dominant defensive tackles in all of football. Derek Brown is without question going to be a focal point of the Panther defense this year. He was too valuable to get rid of. But alongside DB, if he is successful, you've got to have rangy linebackers. You cannot have a classic, traditional, big bruiser middle linebacker whose job is effectively wherever one of the 2 DTs isn't, that gap's yours. Go hit it. Run through that gap and just hit the first guy not wearing our uniform that you see, right? Shut that gap down and let the outside backers and the DBs come up to make the tackle because you've eaten up the last of the blocks. With the 3-4, you got to have a rangy backer. You got to have a guy who can go left and right, forward and backwards. You got to have a guy that can respond to the direction of the ball and the ball carrier, that can get across and over the top of blocks and make the tackle off the other side. That's where Brian Burns comes in. The ability to walk him from a DE to an outside linebacker who's got size and speed to match the ball carrier, not let him cross the face of the outside in a backer in a 3-4. That is wildly important. So what did Fitterer do in a situation where Poles wanted to add Brown or Burns to DJ Moore to make it happen? He said, quote, "There were certain players that we never really wanted to trade. It's so hard to replace a Derek Brown or Brian Burns, a pass rusher and an interior dominant young player on a first contract. DJ, we didn't want to move either, but it's a little bit easier to replace a receiver than it is a pass rusher or 3-tech. And that is correct. Brian Burns had 12.5 sacks last year. That is a career high. He had 9 in both 2020 and 2021. How much does Carolina like Brian Burns? Keep in mind that just a few months ago, the LA Rams offered a package for Brian Burns that included 2 first-round picks for him. And the Panthers said no. They value Brian Burns more than not 1, but 2 first-round picks and a couple of mid-round picks attached to it as well. They were looking at around 4 picks, 2 of them being first-rounders, and decided, no, Brian Burns is more valuable than that. And guess what? They are right. He is, especially in the defensive setup that Ejiro Evero is bringing to Charlotte. Derek Brown. I don't think Derek Brown's a guy that we would consider a star yet, right? I think he's got every possibility of getting there.
There were a lot of questions going into last year, but he stood up and did what he needed to do. So
I would agree.
So he's on the verge of stardom.
I would absolutely agree with that. I would say Derek Brown is very close to being. I don't think he's gotten there yet. I don't think he's quite crossed over into superstar yet. But I think Derek Brown is certainly very good. 67 combined tackles last year, 7 passes defended, 12 quarterback hits, and a sack in 2022. That is a good year. It's a career year for Derek Brown. It would be a good year for just about anybody. But I think asking him to bring the same game in a 3-4 where he is the first line of defense, as big as that guy is, I think he is more important to Carolina than any of us thought he would have been over the last couple of years. Absolute playmaker, absolute stud, a dude that can hold down the interior. Even if he's not right. Listen, I don't think he's going to rack up sacks. I don't think he's going to rack up tackles for a loss next year. One of the only problems as a defensive tackle in a 3-4 is the fact that your numbers aren't going to look stellar. They're not going to look like you're a Pro Bowler. Yet you could be the most important guy on the field. Eating up blocks, shutting down alleys, and giving the linebackers an extra second to figure out where's the ball going, who's got it, and how do I get there. I got to raise the thumbs up to Scott Fitterer. The Carolina Panthers knew what they wanted. They wanted number 1 overall. They know what they need. They need QBF, QB of the future. They need to find QB1 that will be there for 4 or 5 years on a rookie contract to be built around, and a guy that they can justify giving that $100 million contract to in 4 or 5 years, right? They know what they needed. They know they have to have that. But they also know that it doesn't matter if your rook quarterback comes up and leads an offense that averages 24 if you're giving up 27. Brian Burns and Derek Brown on a defense, by the way, with studs. Frankie Louvu, stud. Jeremy Chin, stud. JC Horn, stud. This is a defense that is primed to be excellent this year. Somebody's hit me a number of times on the text line with Rob. If they've got so much talent, why were they middle of the pack last year? The answer to that is very simple. They also, go ahead, Lonzo, you know.
They were tired.
They're tired.
They were tired. I mean, you can have the best defense of all time. If you're on the field for 2/3 of the game, you're going to be tired.
That's a fact, Jack. Because the Panthers were on the field, I believe, and I could be wrong, through the first half of the season, more than any other defense in the league. I want to say it was like 3 or 4 when the season was over. They were freaking exhausted, dude. It wasn't that they're not talented. It wasn't that they're not capable. The Carolina Panthers, on paper, have maybe the most cumulatively deep defensive depth chart in the National Football League. A couple of spots we could work on, but going to the 3-4, I think the Panthers need to find another inside backer. You put Burns out on one side as a stand-up backer, unless you put him at the defensive end and you find another outside backer. That's fine too. But you need a pass rusher for the Brian Burns side. I think you need one more inside backer who's rangy. I like Jeremy Chin as a free safety.
So what you're
Von
saying,
Bell, strong safety.
Yeah.
Jeremy Chin can float around.
what you're saying is after this first pick, when they pick a quarterback, probably going to be defense the rest of the way.
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. You throw 3 or 4 or 5 defensive picks out there. I need 2 of them to hit. This Panther defense can be very good. You're going to have to, I still think I would like to add one more receiver. It is not a priority anymore, right? DJ Chark, do on the outside as your vert. Adam Thielen is your slot possession. TMJ is your jump ball red zone guy. Shi Smith is your utility outfielder. It's not a bad core. I would like one more set of consistent hands. And if I could go get a Jackson Smith and Jigba without it costing me the farm, a guy that Justin Fields, a guy that CJ Stroud already has chemistry with, I make that move. But if he's not available, absolutely going defense the rest of the way. It all circles back around to this. Scott Fitterer just did an outstanding job. An outstanding job. Chicago could have said, look, you're giving us Brown or you're giving us Burns or you're not getting number 1. Fitzy said, yo, hold up. Wait a minute. You're not getting Brian Burns. We already turned down 2 first-rounders for that guy. I know you want Derek Brown, but what if we gave you an additional 3rd-rounder to find a guy there, right? Because Derek Brown, again, very good defensive tackle. Not first-round quality. Not yet. Might be long term, but not yet. We'll value him as a late second, maybe early third round guy. So what if we give you that? And we push this thing through. And Fitterer did a wonderful job of making that happen. Listen, I know it's cliche at this point. Every time something like this happens, Lonzo, I just sit back in my chair and go, good God, how bad was Matt Rule at his job? Because Scott Fitterer clearly isn't. He clearly is good at his job. Frank Reich has already done a better job of roster building in 2 months than Matt Rule did in 3 years. 2 years, 2.5, whatever it was. It all circles back to I need Dave Tepper, who, again, I think did exactly this offseason. Stand down. Let your football guys do football things. Hand the checkbook to Fitterer and go, I trust you. Hand the personnel decision-making to Frank Reich and say, I trust you. And go make another $1 billion. Dave, we'll call you when the team's good. We'll call you when the team is good, but get out of the way. And from what I can tell with stories like this one, Zoe, that's exactly what's happened. Tep got out of the way. He told Fitzy to drive the bus. He let Reich put who he wants on it. And all of a sudden, something that Rob and Lonzo have been telling you since like December. This team, if they get the quarterback pick correct, this team is not a dark horse NFC contender next year. They're just a contender. I believe that.
What if, and it hurts to say it, what if Andy Dalton is your starter? At least for the first, let's say, 5 or 6 games.
Depends on the quarterback. Depends on the quarterback, right? If CJ comes in, let's say it's CJ for the sake of argument. If CJ comes in, he's got no chemistry with the wide receiver group, right? If we don't get a Smith and Jigba, no chemistry with the wide receiver group, no chemistry with Miles Sanders, a guy that you've got to throw the ball to out of the backfield. It takes time to develop chemistry. How long? I don't know. Because, again, CJ Stroud had the best skill unit in college football built around it. CJ was in a position where, for the majority of the time, get it close, and that's good enough.
Yeah, that implies that he's inaccurate as a passer.
I'm not implying inaccuracy.
Okay.
I'm implying that he doesn't have to be pin perfect accurate.
Okay.
Right? So if it takes him more than spring and fall camp, where you're playing real football, but let's be real, you can't simulate a game outside of playing a game. If we get into week 2, week 3 of the preseason next year, because keep in mind, we're down a preseason game now. It's down to 3. If we get to week 2, week 3 of the preseason next year and Stroud's not clicking, I got no problem with letting him ride for 3 or 4 weeks. Andy Dalton's going to be fine. It's not going to be excellent. He's not going to tear anybody up. But keep in mind, Andy Dalton had the Saints one defensive meltdown last year from winning the division. Granted, a trash division. But Andy Dalton was a defensive meltdown last year. Or a healthy Michael Thomas. If Mike Thomas doesn't go down last year, the Saints win that division by 3 games. He was that close to being a division winner last year. He's good enough to give, because the only thing I don't want to do is bring in Stroud or bring in Young and be so antsy to get QBF on the field that you put him out there when he's not ready. And he doesn't have time to develop the confidence and chemistry that I want out of QBF.
Yeah, but if he doesn't, the headlines are going to be, yeah, this is a potential bust because this, whoever the quarterback is, isn't good enough to beat out Andy Dalton.
I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Let the headlines say whatever they want to say. The only thing that matters to me right now is that we get the QB pick right and we give the QB pick time to develop the timing and chemistry of an NFL quarterback, as opposed to doing what a lot of teams do, like the Bears did with Justin Fields, and just shoving him out there, ready or not, and going, figure it out, eh? Figure it out. I love this article about Fitterer. I love this report about Fitterer because it shows that he had the rocks to go, look, these are our guys. We are not moving them, but we will get a deal done. And he got it done without costing the Panthers the most important parts of their defense. I love this out of Fitzy. I love it out of Tep, allowing the GM to do his job, the coach to do his job. I am very confident in what's happening in Charlotte right now. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We will wrap up the Tuesday edition of the Rob Brown Show. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Fan Upstate. Sorry, that is the reigning, defending, undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
Probably still is paid.
Oh, 100%. That chest was red, boy.
prospects for a visit. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports both Alabama's Bryce Young and Ohio State worked out for the team in Southern California.
Scrap Twitter. We got to do Raw. I completely blanked on that.
Okay. Samantha.
Unless you've got something that you
No, that's cool. Okay. Samantha Irvin, who is the one of the ring announcers for she tweeted out a picture of herself saying gratitude over WrestleMania. Michael Buffer retweeted it and said Samantha just killed it on that main event. Sam and colleague Mike Rome were flawless and just golden over 2 nights of WrestleMania. So my question for you, because that's a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal, Buffer doing that. At least I think so.
Yep.
Who would be the person if they did that for you that you would just be like, that's, you know.
The first one that comes to mind is dead, so I don't think I'm going to get anything from Buddy D, who is the reason I'm in this industry. Michael Buffer would be it. If Michael Buffer ever compliments my work, Lonzo, I will print it, frame it in a golden picture frame 10 feet high and post it over my mantle. I will buy a mantle to post it over.
I don't have a mantle, but I'll get one. I don't know. I think if maybe if McAfee did that for me, or maybe, I don't know.
McAfee would be up there, but Michael Buffer is the guy.
Offering professional grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, Sting liked one of my tweets. You know, I'm good for the rest of the way.
Maybe that's not exactly how it went, but we did buy that German factory, where we're turning high-quality steel into super sharp blades for a smooth shave at a great price. Seriously, as low as $2 per cartridge. Over the past 10 years, 20 million people have tried Harry's. Join them and get your starter set now. That's a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, and shave gel, all for just $3 with free shipping, backed by our quality guarantee. If you don't like it, it's on us. Just go to harrys.com now and enter code SMOOTH at checkout. That's harrys.com, code SMOOTH.
It's April, and you know what that means? Taxes are almost due. Jackson Hewitt can help you win tax season. That's the sound of your maximum tax refund. The sound of getting 50% off tax prep. The sound of many of our competitors' prices going up. And the sound of getting to your
My next chapter name, Panthers Potential, because it's just I'm just killing it tonight. I know it's not tonight, but it's figuratively. So it's night somewhere, like in Japan or England or something. I don't need to be famous, Kevin. I just need to be good enough that Kevin pays attention to me. That means I've made it.
From the Ingles Market Studio, the
Upstate, 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM.
from the Free Odyssey app.
CBS Sports Radio.
All right, scrapping Twitter trending topics because I wanted to get Raw in here real quick. And we'll probably dump deeper into this on Fight Club, I'm sure. Yeah, it was bad. And before you come at me, because I posted some tweets last night that I was like, oh, some of y'all are just salty that your boy didn't win at WrestleMania, and so you're upset about it. Let me make something very clear and start by saying two things. Number one, it was a bad Raw. Was it the worst Raw I've ever seen? No, it was not the worst I've ever seen. It was far from the best. Second off, when I sent those tweets out about Raw and the salty fans, I was talking about Cody taking the butt whooping from Brock, not the whole show, right? I thought y'all were basically crapping on the whole show because you didn't like that your boy didn't get a crack at Roman in the proposed tag team. Now, I don't understand how in kayfabe Cody would have arrived at, oh yeah, let's randomly have a tag team match, and I randomly got Brock to be here for it. And no, as of today, though I have to let the story play out, I don't know why Brock would have done what he did to Cody, although I suspect there's going to be some sort of arrangement with Paul Heyman.
With Heyman, yes.
Because remember, the concept was whoever competes with you cannot get a title shot against Roman as long as he has the belt. Brock already could not get one, so that made sense. But why would Cody propose that? Why would Brock have turned? The answer is Heyman goes, I will give you one more shot at Roman if you beat up Cody.
He doesn't have to do that, though, because all he has to do is make sure Roman is no longer the champion. And then he can have all the cracks at the championship he wants.
Right. So
again, why not be on Cody's side?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it didn't make a bunch of sense. And what I was talking about was that last segment of Raw that just got a little bit squirrely. That being said, I got a text from P1 Keegan, right? Now, Keegan is relatively new to the wrestling scene. He's in because of us in the show. And even he hit me with a text immediately when Raw went off the air and said, is it me or did that just feel like a Vince McMahon show? And the answer was, hell yeah, it did. Well, Sean Ross Sapp, who is I would say, either king of the dirt sheets or no lower than right behind Meltzer, put out a report last night that said Vince showed up, Vince took over Gorilla, Vince scrapped everything in the script for that Raw and basically made it up as he went. And now there's video of Seth coming out to the ring, going to commercial, a producer bringing Seth over, telling him a bunch of stuff, Seth kind of like looking like, what is happening? And then flipping back into character. Now, that's projection via a video from a distance. But damn if it doesn't make sense that Vince just said, to hell with your show, Triple H. I'm back, and this is what I want, because that was a McMahon show last night.
Yeah,
and it sucks.
Yeah, unfortunately, the run is over. And
we had a good time,
yeah, we did. We had a good year. It was a really good year. It brought wrestling back. It brought the value of the company up enough to where they could get max value for selling it. And the whole reason why he sold it to who he did, if you watch the CNBC interview with Evil McMahon, it was just about him being able to stay in control. That's what it's all about.
Yep.
And it was a good year. It was. I
great
enjoyed the
run,
year.
And all I can say is this. Tony, I hope you got your boat together, my man, because I don't know that you will get another crack like this one. Last night was the lowest rated Monday Night Raw in years and years because of how bad it was. The door is open. You had better figure it out.
Now, due to the guys at Endeavor go, hold on. We just bought this and you're trying to tank it already. We changed our mind.
My bet is, and I don't know this for a fact, my bet is, Zoe, when Vince sold to Endeavor, it was written in the contract that he gets to stay on as head of creative. I bet we find that out in the next 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, he actually talked about that. So yeah, he's
he
running
said,
the
I
thing.
don't want to be in the weeds. But to him, running Raw is not being in the weeds. That's the most important position there. So, we had a great 8-9 month run. Vince thinks nobody can do it better than him, even though they literally freaking were. But here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back tomorrow to do it all over again, but better. He's Lonzo. I'm Rob. Thanks for listening to the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. Later, brother.
Is the sports voice of you, the Upstate Fan. Call 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. The Fan Upstate.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis.
All right, guys. Y'all are the best. Dude, I don't know that you can say it better than James just said it. Vince just wants to entertain Vince. That is exactly correct. I know what you want more than you do. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're back tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of your day. Goodbye.